Ladies and gentlemen, there is just over 10 minutes until the start of the men's 45s here on the stadium. We also have 3 games on field 2, 3 and 4. It's just over 10 minutes until the start of the next conflict. Players and referees, 4 minutes. 4 minutes, players and referees.
And welcome to CX Cost International Stadium. We have a decider here on the final day of the 2022 State of Origin Series. This is the men's 45 division. James Preston with you in commentary alongside Scott McAllister. And Scott, there are some pretty famous names playing in this match.
Yeah, there are obviously a lot of touch football experience as we see New South Wales coming in on fifth. Touch opens up through the middle. Touch made. Whisker away. Cox there having to get across and making that touch. But yeah, on the Queensland side of things, Craig Matters is definitely one to keep an eye out for as a former Australian Men's Open representative. Jason Campbell as well, another player that's got plenty of experience. He's got the ball in hand at the moment for Queensland. New South Wales, a really strong team. Tony Altashi, legend of the sport, and Steve Beaver Menzies will be keeping an eye out for here as Queensland get into the in-goal area and they're going to get opening points in the 45s decider.
Just conferring here the referees, seeing if there was a touch. I think this one will stand though, Scott. There's a couple of claims for
I
a
don't
touch,
think
though.
it will, James.
Well, they've got the touch in there, so well done. Of course, not only Beaver Menzies minus the headgear, but also Dave Roberts and Dean Willow. They've both played in the Men's Opens years ago and have certainly played at a very high level for some time now as New South Wales work it away from their own end. Pressure on here in defence. They look to head towards their substitutions box and get those fresh players onto the field. Skipped it away now from Wilbo. Numbers up through the middle. That's Gleeson who plays it. They'll come back short side. Gleeson once more here. Last play now for New South Wales. Little fumble as they were gaining possession, and that just meant they had to slow up on the run a little bit. The Queensland off the hook after a bit of momentum to start that set. And of course, Big Beaver is out there. Keep an eye out for him. Menzies in the number 11. His first foray into touch football as well, Scott. He's playing Origin for the first time this year.
Yeah, but a bit of touch footy experience playing for Manly, of course. There would be no other team that he'd be able to play for, but has represented Manly at quite a few New South Wales State Cups in particular. So he'll hold his own out there, no question.
So Queensland marching forward now, moving it around through Ryder. Drops it off. Short Paul, and then a little bit of space to move him there for Vella. He kept pushing forward. Ryder flings it out, and now to Hinch. Hinch dumps it back on the inside. Hoffmeyer drops it down. I think that'll be another set of 6. Yes, it is for Queensland. Very messy in the ruck there.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the penalty was for. New South Wales players getting involved in the ruck. Penalty towards Queensland. And it gives Queensland the chance to get some players onto the field as well. Some changes.
So Hoffmeyer drops it down. Oh, nice bit of scoot here from Matters. Matters tried to link up. Touchdown from New South Wales. Had to be made. There was space that was opened up off the back of the run from Matters. Still on with the pressure, though, for Queensland. Good position to play from. Kaiway looking to find an opening there. Matters out to Kaiway now, who slows things down. He wants to get that New South Wales defensive line up to that 7-metre mark. Of course, if they don't come, penalty is set to ensue. Kaiway once more draws them in. The long ball. That's beautiful play from Queensland. Diving through the corner is Adam Page, who does write a page in the history books here for Origin 2022. The first try of the match going the way of Queensland in the 45s division.
Yeah, they finally get it. We thought that they were going to get opening points just a few moments ago. This time opens up nicely. The final pass from Matters, and the captain of the Queensland team, Adam Page, finishes it off nicely in the corner. First points for the men in maroon.
The New South Wales with the work to do. They trundle forward. Now, I thought that could have gone either way there. New South Wales are pretty adamant it was going to be their penalty. But there was definitely a shoulder that was dropped in as the contact was made. Of course, this is Origin. We don't mind seeing a little bit of argy-bargy. Forward they come once more here through Swain, who drops it off. Still there in support. Tipped over the top. Oh, Menzies was wide and waiting for it. Just fell a bit short for Big Beaver. Off they go now through Matters. Finding some support further wide. Matters into dummy half, and now with Kaiway, who heads towards that substitution box. How's the transition for Queensland? A little bit sluggish on this occasion. Campbell now up over halfway. Support there in the form of McHerron. He tips it on further now. Opening up just a little bit for Bowie. Now there's a bit of space here for McHerron. McHerron to the line, finding support. Oh, good cover defence, though, from New South Wales. They slid very nicely there, Scott.
Yeah, they did. They did a good job, and they just ran out of real estate in the end there, Queensland. There was a little bit of a half tackle off the ball as they finished it off in the corner. Phil Cullen out there in the number 8 for Queensland on the far right side. But, yeah, nice job from New South Wales, though. They handled that quite nicely.
Who might be actually in the running for best name in the entire tournament. Steel Cullen, I love it.
It's a great name. He's a good man, Steele.
Feel that could even be a little precursor to Sterling Archer, one of my favourite shows. Not a bad show at all. That is a change over there from New South Wales, and up they go now. Queensland through the guts. Shifted on from McHerron, finding support further wide with Lumen. Heading towards that transitional area. It's a pretty good changeover too here from Queensland. The roll-on continues. Good momentum about this set. Now they step up the pace. Here comes Vella. Vella running out of a bit of room there though. Last play now. Hoffmeyer looking for support. The long ball comes. New South Wales have got all the answers in defence though, and they pushed up off the line and closed it down nice and quickly.
They look quite comfortable defensively. They've definitely had most of the pressure down that end of the field defending their line, but they haven't looked too rattled. Obviously, Queensland 1-0 up on the scoreboard, but they handled that one nicely on their last raid.
The New South Wales up over halfway now with McSpadden, dropping it off 10 metres into enemy territory. Were they back on side there? Referee says yes, just got back. That was touch and go there from Ryder.
If he just got back, you're spot on. He just got back. It was a questionable call. And now they get the penalty, some solid contact on touch one. So it's funny how that happens sometimes in a game of footy. You get a 50-50 call, and then all of a sudden the rub of the green might go with the other team, and that's what happened to Queensland. Getting a penalty, easy meters up the field. Might be a chance to get their second towards the back end of the set.
Here is Kaiway turning it back on the inside. Matters now. The danger man so far for Queensland. Pulling the strings nicely through the middle of the pitch. Kaiway. Good agility there. Crabbing across field quite literally. I'm expecting him to build a sandcastle next. I'll get another set of 6 there.
4 substitutions, so it's 2 in a row, I think, is the call from the on-field referee. The last penalty went for a bit of a shoulder into the Queensland player, and I think that was a second one in a row. McSpadden getting the 4th substitution, but New South Wales getting their full complement back out onto the park.
Yeah, Knight's coming in for him. Still live here, though, for Queensland as they look to open them up once more. They do exactly that. That's beautiful play. Queensland make it 2-0 after 7 minutes. And now the pressure is well and truly on New South Wales.
Yeah, it's Matters again. Just sums it up perfectly. Looks like he's just got all the time in the world when he's got ball in hand. The try scorer there, Cox on screen. Just rolled over. You don't get too many more easy than that. Just had to catch it and plonk it down. And Queensland have come out all guns blazing in game 3. And they came off a loss in game 2 after winning game 1. And it's all Queensland so far in the decider.
The New South Wales trundling forward. And Scott, we might also see if we can get an update on just how the overall shield is placed at the moment. There's been plenty of series that are already wrapped up. This one is, of course, a decider as it's fired away here from Roberts. Now back to the open wide side. Oh, good touch coming in, though, from Page. He's already scored a try. Might have stopped one there. They'll get another set to play with, though, New South Wales. Queensland not getting back the required distance. The 7 metres out, they'll start this one. Reinforcements coming. Leslie Smith onto the pitch in number 4 for New South Wales. Might join the action now. Quick play. Smith is still an option out wide. Or the dummy. Kaiway decided to jump up as if there was an obstacle there. Oh, great ball back on the inside. Alive to New South Wales. And that's wonderful stuff. Roberts dials over and he reduces that margin 2 tries to 1. He might have done his back in the process though, Robert.
Yeah, but the lead up, while it looked really entertaining with Kawhi coming up out of the line, you just missed it in the replay. It actually cost Queensland while he was up in the air and shooting in. They created the numbers in the space out there on the left-hand side. New South Wales sum it up perfectly. Their first points on the board.
Nice play from the Blues. Took full advantage of that rather flamboyant option there from Kaiway. Now shift it back over to the open right here, Queensland. Numbers both sides of the play the ball. Turning back underneath is Bowie. Bowie still an option. Up they step to close him down. Still operating through that middle passage here. Matthew Bowie. Bowie getting the touch now. Off they run with Hinch. Hinch the long ball.
Oh, beautiful.
For Queensland.
No, they're going to take it off them, James.
Oh, that's the second time it's happened today. We've seen 2 absolute rippers pulled back. Geez, it couldn't have been forward by much.
Yeah, marginal, but yeah, awesome finish there. Adam Page out in the corner, taking the deflection. Really hard to be able to grab those ones, not knowing the direction of the ball. Really athletic there from Page in the corner, as you mentioned earlier, scoring 1. Whisker away. That comes out of the hands backwards. That would have been on the highlight reel.
Instead, New South Wales will get a penalty off the back of that too in good field position, so they can launch an attack themselves here. Very slow to get into acting half, though. A bit of confusion and some finger pointing off the back of it. And that's sloppy, and, well, realistically, might be a little bit of karma. I wasn't even sure that was a forward pass at the line there. So New South Wales relinquishing the pressure, and Queensland now heading towards their subs box. Transition is pretty smooth too. Wait for support to arrive. Hopping into acting half now is Hoffmeyer. Sees no option there. The play the ball is incorrect and going tit for tat in terms of errors in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, and I think that might be an important facet of the game, is who can just control the football the most. Little errors like that can cost you, but it's pretty even split between the two teams at the moment, as we see a penalty going to go in favour of New South Wales. So yeah, it is a little bit sloppy between both teams at the moment. Errors and a couple of penalties creeping in the early stages.
El Tachi fires it on, and now moving through the centre they are with McSpadden. Straightening things up here with Wilbo. Still numbers in motion. Not a great pass. It was behind the head and high. Always difficult to reel in. After 11 minutes, still pretty evenly poised here, but both sides, as you mentioned, Scott, they've just got to get the errors out of the game.
Yeah, definitely just creeping in on both sides. And again, we see Queensland having to come back to the mark there, Justin Lumen. So after a pretty exciting start with points from both teams, 2-1 on the scoreboard, just a few little mistakes and errors creeping in on both sides of the field. Matters now from half, links up with Cox, who scored the last try for Queensland.
No cigar on this occasion though for Cox. Ran out of real estate to move in. They head towards their substitution box. New South Wales, El Tachi, nice little step off the right foot, trying to get free. No support here at the moment for New South Wales. Very slow to get the fresh players on. Fired away there from Roberts. Did well to reel it in, actually did Knight. Once more, they'll head down this right-hand side, opening up just a little bit of space here. Roberts, great ball at the line. Can they release? Final pass is good, but I think the touch has come across in time from Queensland. Wonderful sliding defence, but enterprising play from the Blues.
Well, it was simple footy in the end of the day, and a lot of the times the ball can really do the work for you. And when they had the space out there on that left-hand side, that's exactly what they did. They fired it out towards Menzies. As we see now, Mattis has picked it up from half. He's going down the sideline, ball in one hand.
Hinch is back through the middle as well. He can't walk from dummy half, but he does everything else that he needed to. And that results in another try for Queensland. 3 tries to 1, 12 and a half gone here at CX Cox International Stadium. He points to the number 8, and certainly that is a try for Steel Talon. Oh, my favourite.
Yeah, and just watch Hinch here. Like, he did everything but score the try himself. So he had a little bit of pressure coming on his inside there, covering from New South Wales. But he just pointed Craigie Matters back the other way. They had 2 supporting players on that right-hand side, and Talon finishes it off. Good game awareness again from Matters. No one at home, down the sideline, down Queensland side of the field, picks it up and just streaks down. Nicely done again. He's in absolutely everything, Craigie Matters.
Work to do here for New South Wales. El Tachi runs behind the back of them. No obstruction though, of course. Very rare to see such a call in touch footy. You can use the extra body as long as no one is directly impeded. Nice little wraparound play here. Oh, terrible release in the end though from Mills. The idea was right. Execution a little off. And now Queensland will have a chance to work it away from their own end here. They're in a good position, though. 6.5 to play in this first half. A gap of 2. Steel Talon, the man who belongs in a certain film from the 80s with a name like that, picking up their last try. They come towards halfway here, Queensland, with fresh players arriving in support. Not a bad transition either as Hinch comes back onto the pitch and picks up a good 15 metres very easily, too. Fired it away now to McHerron. McHerron, no options on his outside. And jamming in from the link position was Dean Taylor. A nice piece of defence from Taylor.
Yeah, pretty easily read. There wasn't too much doing there for Queensland in that last set. New South Wales will be pretty happy with where they have started their set of 6 to get underway. They're just rolling over the halfway line now. There's good contact there from Adam Page. New South Wales will be looking to set towards the back end of their set of 6.
Oh, goes for a bit of a barrel roll as well in the process. Nice flick pass coming out, and that was really quite unnecessary there, I feel, from Gleeson. Had the chance to take the possession and then fire a pass off, but potentially knew there was an advantage being played, so opted to have a crack himself. They'll get another set to play with here, New South Wales. Gleeson comes centre field, drops it back on the inside to Wilbo, one of those former men's Opens representatives. Tachi, drew it to the line, played up by Queensland. Another set to come here. Just tightening the screws a little bit here, Scott.
Yeah, definitely a lot of pressure on the defensive line here for Queensland, having to defend back-to-back sets on their line. New South Wales, got some strike out there. Like you said, Wilbo, ball in hand. Looking for points. I'm not sure if he played that correctly. No, he didn't. It was good contact in the play the ball. Just forced him backwards. He didn't actually get his body over the football as Queensland progress upfield, so they won't be happy with that.
No, insult to injury, throwing the ball away as well. Of course, if you're new to touch footy, you've got to leave it exactly on the mark or have a nice little handover to the hands of your opposition. The gentleman's game, forget cricket. This is the real gentleman's game. 10 metres into opposition territory. Another penalty here for Queensland. Highway will move forward. No crabbing this time. Picked up around 7 or 8 metres from that run. Back to Highway. And just asking the defence to pop up and engage. McSpadden obliges. Makes the touch. Off it comes here to Cox. Cox now finding Matters. Quick play. Highway diving from distance. Oh, just got the touch in time. It was important from McSpadden. Otherwise, that was try time. The Highway marches back to the 7 metre mark. 4 to play in the first half. Slowing things down here, Queensland. All the time in the world. They lead by 2. Cox plays it. Highway now to Matters. It's the right foot. Probing. Looking for an opening. Trying to marshal the troops and set something up here. Still being chased by Wilbo. Pressure comes in eventually. And that will be the changeover here. New South Wales to get used to the ball. That's still pretty smart play from Queensland. They don't have to panic. They're in charge at the moment.
Yeah, no, smart footy. Again, Craig Matters, ball in hand still when didn't look like there was anything doing. He almost created a little opportunity in numbers down this left-hand side of the field. Queensland give away yet another penalty. New South Wales full set of 6 starting around the halfway line. Menzies will take the tap. So Queensland's probably one area that they'll be looking to just clean up, just giving away those penalties around the mid part of the field, because it's just giving a full set of 6 in New South Wales and getting down the other end with a chance to try and crack and get points back on the board.
Here's El Tachi hopping into acting half and trying to probe for an opening. No touch there from Queensland. He took it to the line nicely, as he does so frequently. Just couldn't provide an opening for his outside men, though. There's still work to do here for New South Wales. They trail by 2, 2.5 on the clock. Nice big cut-out ball there, supplied by Matters. Finding some extra space, and now Kaiway can do much more of the same thing and head forward. Speaking of forward, that was very flat there from Queensland. Play on, though, says the referee. Now Hoffmeyer slows things down. He's got support now. Decides to re-accelerate and try and get them on the back pedal. Hinch with a long ball. Oh, what a ball it is. Menzies was as if there was some timber that wanted to munch him, and he completely took his eyes off the ball. And that's a big try here for Queensland to open up a nice little margin now.
Yeah, beautiful ball from Hinch. I love watching him play. He's so elusive, but he's got the ball skills as well. Like, he's got the footwork, and you can see there, he's put it on an absolute platter. Well, Robbie Vella out on this left-hand side of the field, Queensland. Handy margin now, up by 3, 4-1 on the scoreboard. Halftime, not too far away.
Smith, centre of the field, fires it on now to Mills, who slows things down. Looking for an opening, New South Wales, not wanting to force the pass. Time is their friend. Of course, still a whole other half to be played here. Mills back through the middle. Very patient with their play here, New South Wales. They're not panicking despite the margin. Last play now. What can Smith do? He can't do much, unfortunately. The defence once more. Excellent from Queensland. Jason Ryder on that occasion just stood him up. A great bit of jockeying with the feet. Didn't show him anywhere to go. Queensland now work it away from their own end. Just over a minute to play. Fresh players onto the pitch for the Maroons. Up towards halfway they come. Easy meters on offer here as well for Queensland. They're really not doing much with the footy, but still picking up plenty of space. Tyler nearly got all the way through. Good touch came in the end, though. And that will be the changeover. So Queensland nearly had their 5th there, Scott.
Yeah, Pungley had to really get on the skates to get it across and make that touch on Highway's looking dangerous. Ball in hand. I'm going to whisper away from scoring not too long ago. He's getting on the outside there of the Blues. Desperation defence for them to stop that one.
Oh, Tachi with a bit of a hospital pass, really. It was out in front, close to the line. We know he likes to get very tight into the defence and then pop a little pass, but realistically, they've just got to complete their sets at this point, New South Wales. They keep inviting Queensland with opportunities on their line, and they are taking them, the Maroons. They might get one more here before the half is done. 8 seconds on the clock. One final play after this one from Kaiway. Had they had a look at the clock, they fling the ball back on the inside. Might have been touched from New South Wales. It won't matter, though, because the siren will beat them all. And at half-time in the men's 45s decider here for the 2022 State of Origin Series at Coffs Harbour, Queensland lead New South Wales 4 tries to 1, all the second half action in just a moment. Welcome back to CX Coffs International Stadium from lovely Coffs Harbour. The sun is out, so too are the fans. And this decider between Queensland and New South Wales in the men's 45s division is well positioned at the moment for a Queensland victory. Scott McAllister, what do New South Wales need to do to get back into this one?
Oh, they just got to get their errors under control. There's been a few times where they've dropped the ball and just given possession back to Queensland, coming out of their end of the field. They've got to be the next to score, and it's got to start here with the second half as we see Queensland. That's a big drive.
Highway, I think he might have even got under the first touch attempt there from the inside man. The link got him, though.
He's quite ginger, actually. Looks like he might have some additional strapping to his left leg after coming out of the halftime break, as we see Matters thinking. They'll take the touch now and finish off in the corner on Queensland's side of the field. But yeah, New South Wales, they can't just continue to chase Queensland. They've got to come up with stops defensively. Well, they've just got to get their ball control underhand as well, as we see them struggling to come out of their end. But yeah, It's only 3-try margin. We've seen teams come back throughout this series in different divisions from 3 down, so it's definitely not out of question.
El Tachi out there, one of the key architects here is with the ball now. What can he conjure up in the last play? Cut out ball, but that's realistically going nowhere and forward anyway. So bit of a mess to start this second half here for New South Wales. They pretty much have to be perfect from this point on in order to get themselves back into the contest. It's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. Plays like that won't help them. Here comes Queensland with a man that's probably been best on ground so far, Craig Matters. He's looked really sharp. Could confuse him for a 30s play the way he's moving around at the moment.
Oh, he's still fit as anything. And like we said, got the experience. One of the players that was named in the 14 of the best players in the last 50 years. So, yeah, he's been on the big stage plenty of times before. And fit as anything, as you can still see out there at the moment, Craigie Matters.
Klein dropping that one at the death. So New South Wales getting a chance to come away from their own line. They need to be first to score. That's a lovely run here from El Tachi. Was that played at? Yes, referee says it certainly was. Another set of 6 to come here, El Tachi. The magician, as always, pulling the strings through the centre of the field. Up to halfway they come now. Joining the action is Knights, and he picks up some easy meters here. Really easy, in fact. Still going forward. Knights once more drives forward. About 7 shy of the try line. El Tachi. Long ball over the top. Menzies left it. Oh, wasn't a particularly bad idea to leave for the winger. Just fell in between link and wing, though.
Yeah, that's right. It was out there. There was half a chance. A little bit of space for them out on this left-hand side of the field. Again, it's just those little plays, the execution just not quite there for the Blues. As Queensland now will get some fresh changes onto the field.
Just having a look in the background there too. I mean, you called it, Scott McAllister, that Kaiway is looking a little bit ginger out there. He is getting a touch up on the sideline from the physio, so Queensland will hope that that works. Maybe the magic sponge comes out as Hinch drives forward. That one certainly also looked to be forward. Nice pass thrown, but not out of the hands backwards. So referees are on the spot there, and 3 minutes into the second half, still very much a case of New South Wales having to do all the work. They trail by 3. 100% happy with what they've seen there, the referees. They'll get them to go again.
Wrong blade of grass. I think they end up tapping it at the same place where they kicked off from last time, but back underway nevertheless.
Towards the subs box they come. Oh, strong contact as well. Fending away with the touch. It was Gleeson who put a bit of extra into it. And then Queensland also offering the exact same treatment to New South Wales, but it has resulted in a penalty for the Blues.
Yeah, I think Adam Page not too happy with the first contact that he got. It was solid contact and just decided to come in with a little bit of shoulders. Nothing too over the top. It slowed it down. But yeah, penalty going the way of New South Wales.
So Smith, middle of the field now. Pressure on either side of him. Drops it down, back to Smith. What can he produce here? Ball over the top. Got the ground very quickly, but the touch was in there well before he even began to manoeuvre towards the turf. El Tachi finds Mills. Mills drops it off. Last play now. El Tachi, oh, great little step off the right foot. Surely played at from Queensland. I think they might be suggesting there was a touch before release, though.
Yeah, touch and pass first. So, yeah, definitely came off the hands of Queensland. You just saw the big swat. It was almost like an NBA rejection off the backboard. But, yeah, touch and pass first is the call. Referees giving possession back to Queensland. They head over towards the halfway line now.
The Vella with the previous run, already a try in the first half as Queensland get up over halfway. Klein, nice quick play the ball with a strike jump. Here they come. Matters now has them backpedaling. Oh, great footwork from Matters. Nearly opened it up. Very important touch from Leslie Smith. My goodness, Matters is looking sharp out there. He's proving that age doesn't matter. Excuse the pun. Dropped it off. Now Roberts charging forward. Good meters on offer for him. Menzies hops into acting half and then finds Mills in support. This is a much better roll on from New South Wales. Up over halfway they come with Lee. Menzies pops it here for Swain. Swain gets the touch in. Last play now for New South Wales. McSpadden opening just a little bit of space there. He wanted to get the ball away, trying to pass it late at the line, but it was directly into Queensland and not played at. So changeover for the Maroons, but that's better from New South Wales.
Yeah, a little bit more running in their game that time around. Yeah, it took a little half run there from McSpadden, but, you know, a little bit of a question there to the Queensland defence, but they held firm, looking for the 6 to go. They don't get it. A couple of players on the deck here.
McHerron coming forward now. Referee has spotted something within that collision. Might even go the way of New South Wales here. Yeah, I think fending off from Queensland.
Yeah, you can see that a little bit. The majority of the time where you see the heavy contact, most of the time it's the defender coming in because they've got the weight of momentum coming forward. But yeah, you often see sometimes on a heavy drive, the attacking player will tuck the ball under one hand and really push off a defender and try to knock them over and get an advantage. That's what happened. That's how the referee saw it on that occasion. Penalty to the Blues.
Taylor to El Tachi, and El Tachi now promotes it to Mills. Mills straightening up off the right foot. Last play now. Mills coming forward. Can he get the long loping pass going? Beaver Menzies is there, but he can't step back on the inside of Page, who's been really strong for Queensland. A try himself. He's also done some good work in defence. That was certainly an example of it. A pinch opposite here for McHerron, who then takes the run. Another forceful contact coming in from New South Wales, though, pushing them as they were trying to play it. Got to make sure it's a clean ruck. About 7 minutes into the second half. 13 to go here. 13 minutes for New South Wales to try and stage a comeback. There's plenty of work to do. 3 tries is the margin as McHerron comes up towards halfway. El Tachi makes the touch. Further forward they drive now with Vella, who then pops it back towards the middle. Hoffmeyer plays it. Vella now on the charge. They've got them backpedaling. Last play here for Queensland. Opening up half a gap. Oh, they went for the speculative pass around the corner. It would have been something quite special had it come off. But instead, they just take off the pressure at the death there for New South Wales, who are just hanging on at the moment, Scott McAllister.
Yeah, that's right. It was a really late switch at the line, but almost like a looping ball around the back there to try to connect up. It was never going to hit the target, but it was the right option, right play. Doesn't come off for Queensland. New South Wales it's looking a little bit flat. Coming out of their end again as they put the ball through the hands.
Smith in an acting half, all very flat pass back to McSpadden there. Let go by the referees. Inside the final 30 metres here, El Tachi floats a pass over the top, but there was a bit of miscommunication there. Smith had darted back towards the middle to offer an option as a wraparound, and then unfortunately a big space was left between El Tachi and Lee, and as a result, Queensland now have a chance to pick up some steam here. They come marching upfield with pretty easy metres on offer. Here is Hoffmeyer, who drops it off, now Matters, pushing through, sees half a gap, puts on the afterburners, nearly burnt them all the way to the try line. Good touch came in though from Lee, had to make it. The Queensland still in a good spot here. Matters, slowing things down. They'll get one more attempt at this line. Cox engaging the defensive line. No touch forthcoming. Oh, he's milked it beautifully, and I think that might well be, yes, a lack of a touch. So another set of 6 to come here for Queensland. Well drawn.
Not happy.
Look at that. What on earth is Cox doing there? That's ridiculous.
Oh, he's a crazy character, Bobby Cox. But there was a bit going on. He was coming into the line, and it was Leslie Smith who pulled out of the touch, retrieving within that 7-metre zone. Yeah, not sure what Bobby Cox is going on
I've never
about.
seen someone actually use like a chimpanzee mating call as a taunt before, but now I have. I don't need to watch National Discovery. I can just turn on Touch Footy here at Coffs Harbour. That is brilliant from Cox. So forward they come now, Queensland. Let's see if there is any more monkey business. Cox fires it off. Now Matters, slowing things down. Clever gamesmanship here from Queensland. They are in the ascendancy. They don't need to do much. Cox fires it off. Here is Matters off the left foot. Jinking, opening up space. Floats it over. Cox beats it. Just a little out of reach from Bailey. It's all happening here at Coffs Harbour.
Half a chance. Matters again, just holding back. Comes off the left foot. They had the New South Wales defence. I think it might have been Menzies having to come in. If he doesn't come in, they're over. Just forced that bat-on play from Bobby Cox. Going backwards here, New South Wales. Oof.
Taylor tried to open up the play. All he succeeded in doing, though, was losing about 5 metres for his side. Now they've got a bunch of work to do here in New South Wales. That will most certainly help.
Well, they're lucky to get that relieving penalty. Because as we made mention, they were struggling to get meterage there in New South Wales. And they just really haven't been down Queensland's end of the field too much in the second half. You're down by 3. You need to try and get down that attacking zone. This is a good chance for them.
Rose gets it on. Taylor released. Oh, good take. Now, have they managed to maintain possession? Referee suggesting yes, they certainly have. They'll get another crack at them here as well, New South Wales. To Swain to take the touch with a full set to play with. Taylor drops it off here for Lee. Straightens things up. Lee once more. Good space. Ooh, Just on the outside there. I thought he might have opened it up for Taylor.
The two Queensland defenders actually jammed in on Lee on that occasion, and there was a 2-on-1 on the left-hand side as he has another
Here
look
he
in
goes
between
again,
them.
Lee.
Ooh.
He's got the ground. No, they've just converged upon him in time. It was Cox and also McHerron in there. This time no gloating though from Cox. Still has work to do in defence. Swain straightens things up. Last play now. Rose was there as an option. Taylor to Swain, and they just couldn't release to the wing. Once more, Queensland up in the faces with that pressurised defence. And with just 8.5 to go, it is now looking to be a bit dire for New South Wales.
Yeah. Well, points are at a premium here in the second half. Still no one able to trouble the scoreboard. So it doesn't help New South Wales when they're trying to get themselves into the match. While there's still plenty of time on the clock, it does start to become a factor for them.
Good run here as well from Hoffmeyer. Picking up plenty of meterage with a few angle changes. Pinch it acting half. Picks it up. Feigns to go long. Oh, great delay on the pass after a dummy. He just did enough there though, New South Wales. But Hinch, such a dangerous customer. Good sleight of hand. Nearly opened them up. It's up to the Blues now to head upfield. Rose takes the first touch. Now away with Gleeson, who heads towards the subs box. Transition. Let's see how it works here for New South Wales. Not bad with Eltachi continuing the momentum here. They are running out of space on this occasion, though. Eltachi still toying with them. Finally, they get the full complement out there. Started all right. The transition didn't finish particularly well, though, for New South Wales. Eltachi threw into the background. Oh, the free kick to the top. Not too bad at all. Just falls short for Robert. Queensland were on the spot anyway, though. I think they would have stopped that.
Yeah, well, that's where New South Wales are at. They're having to pull tricks out of the bag to try and come up with points. But great work from Eltachi, just getting through from half. Didn't have the support, flicked it over the top. This is going to help. And we haven't seen this too much in the second half where Queensland have turned it over coming out of their end of the field. This gives cheap possession back to New South Wales. They've got to capitalise on this. They have to be the next to score. I've got a feeling that if New South Wales can score, that's the only way they might be able to get a little bit more spark about them and get themselves back into the game. This might be the set that they do it.
The Wilbo with the dummy. Now receives it back. And Scott, I mean, one thing we talked about at the start of the second half was the only way New South Wales will get back into this game is on the back of a few Queensland errors and minimising their own. They'll get away with that one, though, the Blues. Another chance to launch a raid here. Wilbo comes forward, plays it inside the 7 mark. You don't see that particularly often. And Wilbo, not really much doing there. Still decided to try and go forward, thinking the defence was offside. He'll come back to the 7-metre mark. Menzies to Wilbo. Long ball to Smith. Smith has Roberts there, takes the touch instead. Roberts into acting half. Now Smith, but not played square. Oh, that's a coach killer there for New South Wales.
Foxy's into it again as well. He's trying a bit of chat out towards New South Wales. No doubt letting them know they're not capitalising on the chances they've got down that end of the field. Adam Page takes it forward for Queensland.
So Queensland up towards the halfway line now. Page flings it away to Matters. Cox is there, gets the touch from Rose. Forward they charge once more with Vella, who's already gone over the stripe himself. Matters, arguably best on field so far, continues to toy with the defence. Just runs it all the way towards the Queensland box. A nice bit of gamesmanship there from Matters as Eltachi fires it. Smith further on to Roberts. Roberts back towards the middle. They're really getting a little bit desperate here, the Blues. Rose very slowly into acting half. The dummy comes. Shut down, though, from Page. Once more they charge forward. Rose and then off to Knights. Now the run from Swain. Played, and out it comes here to McSpadden. Back through the middle. McSpadden, last play now. Lee. This is some good momentum here from New South Wales. Oh, that opened up the gap down the sideline. Just missing the final pass, though.
Not much room to move down the sideline. It was Graham Knights, I think it was. He was caught a little bit infield. Might have been able to flirt down the chalk as they created a little bit of space in numbers. But yeah, not much room to move there for New South Wales. So they're chancing their hand in that last play.
Well, they need to. They'll pretty much have to score off the next end. Cox once more over the eccentric character.
They get him an Academy Award. He is up for nomination of Best Male Actor in the Men's 45s.
Thought he was going to go down again off the back of that one.
Keep an eye out for Alex Hinch in this set. He's been looking really dangerous as we now see Craigie Matters hit the deck.
Good to see as well. Kaiway is back out there after a little session with the physio. getting very desperate here for New South Wales. They must score off the next set. Only about 4 minutes remaining. Matters drives straight at the line. Not a great ball. Hit the deck first. And this is where New South Wales have to launch a counter-attack. It is now or never. Forward they come through. McSpadden stepping off the left foot. Picking up some meterage. Menzies with a very slow loping pass there. Now he gets a chance to show his wares. Up they come. Knight gets in on El Tachi now into the action. Taylor takes the touch. Not many plays left, and they haven't asked many questions of the defence. This is better, though, from Taylor. They'll drop it off. Now Menzies. What can Beaver produce? Not much, unfortunately. That might just do it here for Queensland, Scott.
Yeah, clock's against them now. Just over 3 to go. And Queensland just that margin by 3. They haven't been able to claw it back at any stage. Haven't really looked like being able to in the second half. The men in blue, Queensland, just blew them away in the first 20 minutes. It's been just too big of a task for New South Wales in the second to be able to get themselves back into the game. Queensland they'll be looking to ice this one, put some final touches on. They won't with that play there. New South Wales, they've got to go all the way down the other end to try and have another crack at the Queensland line.
Let's see what they can produce, the Blues. I like to think that it's still not quite over with yet, but the clock is likely to beat them. Even if they do score off pretty much the next play as Smith heads towards the sideline, loses his footing as the afternoon dew starts to pop onto the ground. Straightened up from Swain. Hits the halfway. They all overran the mark there, including Roberts. That's why the pass didn't come from Rose. El Tachi now will cut out Rose. Goes to Roberts. Steps back off the left foot. But watchful as always is Tony Klein, and he shuts it down nice and quickly. So Queensland once more marching up the field. They've dominated field position so far in this second half, having dominated just about every facet in the first. New South Wales really haven't been able to ask many questions on their line.
No, 100%. Yeah, they've really had no footy down Queensland's end of the field. It's been played pretty much between the two 7-metre lines between the two teams in the second half. Queensland definitely had the better of the chances attacking the line. New South Wales, probably the last possession possibly for them.
Oh, definitely forward there. And yes, picked up from the referees. That just makes it that much more difficult for the coaching staff. And the arms are folded on the sideline. They're not particularly impressed with what they've seen. Plenty of riding on it. Series decider. They would love to come away with a victory here, the Blues. The Queensland, who are the hosts for this year's series, will pick up another win here in the men's 45s division. Into the 7-metre mark they march. Highway telling Matters to slow things down. Now he gets it back from him. They're in no rush here to even play the ball, Queensland. Matters picks it up. Back to Kaiway. These two might just have a little party amongst themselves for the meanwhile. Oh, Kaiway with a long stretching dive. And Matters absolutely loves it. The big smirk comes out. Not many players can do that at the age of 45, but Kaiway certainly found a bit of a highway through the centre of the defence.
Yeah, just got him done on the quickie, off the right foot, outstretched hand, slaps it down. We may mention over 45. None of these blokes look 45. They're spring chickens and looking fit as anything in Queensland. They do get the icing on the cake that they were looking for. What an impressive win for them in Game 3. New South Wales winning Game 2. It's a big task. It's hard when the other team potentially has the momentum coming into a decider, but Queensland showing their class. What a great performance for them in the Game 3 decider. Oh, that's a good ball.
Long ball coming. Beaver Menzies wants to add a little bit of that icing on the cake. He can't quite do it. He's one of the all-time great try scorers in the NRL, but not today here for the State of Origin decider. And Cox, of course, he celebrates. He's one of the first to go up. The hat comes off. He jumps into his teammate's arms, and why not? In the men's 45 division, Queensland have come away triumphant. 5 tries to 1. Scott McAllister, who's your man of the match for this match?
Oh, Matters, clearly. And I was just going to make a point there too. When the final hooter went, he was fist pumping. He was really up and about after that. This bloke has played at the top level, men's open. He's done it all in the sport, and just shows how much this still means to players. You know, more as soon as they put on the blue jersey, maroon jersey, whatever it is, it's still massive for these guys. And it was a big win for Queensland, super performance. They won it in the first half, no question. The other thing I just want to make mention on too, it's a pretty special moment for Craig Matters and as well Bobby Cox. Their two boys won the Queensland 20s division. That's an awesome moment when you can watch your kids play representing Queensland. You do the same, and it's going to be a pretty happy car ride home back up to Queensland for those two families.
Very much so, and of course the passion never does die. It doesn't matter how old these players are. They love putting on the jersey, but Queensland in the men's 45s are victorious for the series. The final match, 5-1 to Queensland, which means they do indeed claim the series. And we've still got more massive action coming away in just a moment, so keep it locked here on Bar TV. Another big game to come in about 5 minutes' time.
minutes. Players and referees, 2 minutes. Players and referees, 1 minute. Players and referees ready.
Welcome back to CEX Coffs International Stadium here in the lovely Coffs Harbour. Beautiful, beautiful location for State of Origin footy. And unfortunately, not a fairy tale story for New South Wales. They have already lost this series, but we do still have the final match here. Game 3 in what has been a pretty enthralling series nonetheless. Jackson Mills is joining me in the box. Jackson, obviously, there's no such thing as a dead rubber for the players.
Don't even mention the word. Don't even mention the word, Jack.
But here we are, and New South Wales will certainly be looking to stake a claim here. They might have lost the series itself, but they certainly don't want to lose all 3 matches. Here comes Courtney Young, all ball over the top, nearly found an opening, just going astray there, but not a bad start from New South Wales.
Well, you got to play for pride, don't you? If you can't win the series, you still got a New South Wales logo on your chest, over your heart. You still got to play for your team, for your state. So it's good to see the New South Wales girls out there, and I guarantee you they're going to put still 100% into this match. This is not just a friendly, no one wins anything, but New South Wales will be coming out swinging.
Certainly no side wants to receive a clean sweep. Queensland, however, do want to rub in the punishment, so there's plenty to play for still. And inside the first minute, New South Wales slightly dominating field position so far as they spread from right to left and head towards their subs box. Nice little start here. Davis picking up good metres. Courtney Young follows off the back of it. Strong touch coming in from Lucia Files. He certainly is up for this one. Rogers needs some sort of support. Can't find anybody at all. Eventually releases to DeFore, who does the wraparound. Rogers nearly got away from them, and they just about created something out of nothing.
We've seen a few plays like that on the wing where it's fifth and last, not much doing, but the wingers come up with these cheeky little flick passes and the links wrapping round, and another player comes in, switches back. Pretty entertaining stuff, but let's see if New South Wales can capitalise on another error from Queensland. Last game we saw the girls, I think it was 7 sets, and out of those 7 sets in a row, there were 6 errors consistently from Queensland. So let's see if they can come out of that and fix up those errors in this game.
It was very hard to breach Queensland in the first match, of course. A shutout there, 4 points to nil, 4 tries to nil. And the second one, 6-3. So 2 good results so far for Queensland. I know they've got a stern defensive wall. New South Wales will have to throw plenty at it to break it down to 4. Attempts to put it back on the inside. Back to the 7-metre mark. She'll come now. Offered here for Duff. Duff slowing things down. Nicholas is out there as well. Can she get some sort of an opening here. She certainly can scoot. Last play, they won't come the way of Nicholas. Now they do. Oh, looking to find exactly that woman, Dara Nicholas, but well shut down from Queensland.
Yeah, Carney just sticking the arm out. I thought she may have been able to reel that in. Some unofficial rule, James. Agree with me or not? If you can get a finger to it or a hand to it, can you catch it?
Oh, depends. I mean, if it depends if it's fingertips on the very point of it. I think if you can have a crack at it, maybe even try and pop it up for yourself and then get a second snapple. Here they come with Davis diving from distance. Did Curtis get back on side? I think there was a touch that came in before that anyway. Davis certainly wanted it. I haven't seen you play much yourself, Jackson. How are you when it comes to intercept?
Not very good.
Straight to the point. Davis now gifting it on here to Michaelopoulos. Back to the 7-metre mark she comes. Danny Davis looking for support. Oh, the flick pass came out completely unnecessary. It has to be said, though.
So an interesting thing about these games as well, yes, Queensland have wrapped up this series, but there's probably a little bit of pressure still on New South Wales. However, as you saw there from Danny Davis and the previous play before with Sammy Rogers flicking the ball out the back, there's probably going to be a bit of more eyes up footy, throwing the football around. So I dare to say there's going to be some razzle-dazzle on display here at CEX Stadium, James.
Andresen gifted it back towards the middle. Maddock was there, but they jammed in on her nice and quick. A much better start to this match so far for New South Wales than the previous two encounters, where Queensland got off to a pretty quick start. Rochelle Davis pushes it on, hopping into acting half now, and Danny Davis is there in the link position. Andresen meets her and makes the touch. Crawford comes forward. Now to Pappenhausen. Last play here. Courtney Young has them backpedaling. Ball over the top. Diable back on the inside. Oh, no, through the gap and just shut down. Great defence there from Marama Thomas.
Well, sandwich between Marama Thomas and Markey. Pappenhausen just getting hipped at the line. He had a bit of space to work with, but Queensland shutting that down quickly.
Now a chance to work it away from their own end here, Queensland. So good in defence, always working. That's what we mentioned, Jackson. I mean, neither of these sides want to give an inch here, even if the series is wrapped up. New South Wales desperate to get themselves on the board. Queensland want the clean sweep.
What do you think about it, James? There's 800,000 people that play touch football. Not many get to say they've represented their state at Opens level in any sport, let alone a sport that has 800,000 participants. Everything is on the line here, both for Queensland and for New South Wales.
Jerseys are certainly at stake on a personal level. A couple of players in here that have really put their hands up to be in the side long term, especially for Queensland. Grayson comes to mind, as does this woman, Rachel Walsh, who's looked really good all series. Nice little defence coming up, though, to shut things down from Pappenhausen. She might not have been able to squeeze through herself. Previous attempt at the Queensland line, but that was good from her there. Another chance to work it away for New South Wales. Just over 5.5 gone in this one. Diable, of course, picked up that injury in the second match. Seems to be moving around a lot freer for this third game. Here she is now with the ball.
Spoke to her after the last game, James. This is a little cork to the thigh.
They definitely would have brought out the deep heat. And one thing I've learnt is certainly wash your hands before you then go to the bathroom with the deep heat. Had many a poor experience with that, I can tell you now. The dummy comes in here from Queensland. My shifts it back. Files then takes the touch. For the come. Can you stop smirking over there, please? My pain, not yours. Touch comes in here from Nicholas. Forward they go. Susie, the captain. Last play now. Andresen. Files looked to bat it on, but in came Crawford and shut it down.
Well, Crawford was shutting down. The winger was unmarked. If Andresen could have just launched it. He does have the capability to throw the long ball right to left. He just had a quick look. Crawford was shutting down hard too. It wasn't just an easy shutdown from Haley. He was really coming in. Marquis, we mentioned, he's been across the line a few times. Leading try scorer last year for Queensland. In this Women's Opens fixture, unmarked, walking over as she received that ball.
To 4. Now Rogers finding Maiolo. Here they come now. Rochelle Davis. Good scoot out of dummy half, suggesting they weren't onside. Referee agrees. Another set of 6 to come here for New South Wales. Heads up footy. That's certainly been the word so far for New South Wales. They're throwing it around a fair bit too. A play here from Davis. And out there as well as Slattery. Keep your eyes on her. She can certainly jink and move. Here she is at acting half now. Slattery is certainly not onside, you'd imagine there.
Good read, though, and Andreasen saw it coming from a mile. Hence why she was up in the face of Slattery and Davis.
Here is Davis now, takes the touch. Slattery popping it off for Danny Davis. Oh, nice ball. Just missed out on Maiolo, though.
Look at Maiolo talking to Davis as well. I am walking over, she said. Davis, unfortunately, going to that woman on screen, Sammy Rogers. But Maiolo was wide open in between the middle and the link.
There must have been a touch there, too, from Queensland, because New South Wales with another set here. And yet another one coming. So penalties coming freely at the moment for the Blues. Of course, if you get about 3 straight, you're looking at a woman sitting down.
Well, Davis has some fantastic footwork, and we've seen her on the previous set, sweeping around from that right to left platform, trying to catch a Queensland defence off guard.
Davis off the left foot, finding sister Rochelle. Slattery. Now Rochelle Davis caught. In an acting half is Slattery. Finds Danny Davis, takes the touch. Rochelle looping back around, back through the middle. Slattery trying to find an opening. Curtis was there. He shut it down. Files was also watching in case she was needed. Couple of plays left here for the Blues. Davis to Maiolo. Maiolo touches it down. Davis, Maiolo still coming forward. Andreasen is everywhere at the moment in defence. They can't get around her.
With that fast footwork that I was talking about with Davis, she runs that sweeper platform so well from right to left or left to right. It doesn't matter, but it seems to be working for New South Wales. As we mentioned before, Maiolo was walking in if Davis picked the correct option, which was Maiolo. Why go away from it? Continue to run the same play that's going to be most effective for your team. You see a lot of teams do it. They try one thing, score. Go to another thing, don't score. Just keep going to what's been successful and what's actually putting tries on the board.
I think a great example of that recently, not within touch football, but rugby league, was that match where CSC for Talakai was just tearing apart Manly in that first half. And then for the second stanza, the Sharks pretty much didn't go back to them at all. It was quite bizarre scenes. And we're seeing that a little bit here from New South Wales. They know where the openings are. It's not taking the right option. Rogers into acting half as Dybel is back onto the field. Oh, good jinking run here. Dybel's got them backpedaling. Surely an opening coming somewhere. Oh, they took a little too long to release on that occasion. Just cramped her link partner.
Yeah, I think it seemed Dybel actually tumbled to the ground. I would have given the ball straight back to her if she was on her feet. The Queensland left edge defence was absolutely cooked. I think there was Marama Thomas, Catherine Sargent, and Goodsill out on that left-hand touch line. I think that would have taken a lot of effort to stop Dybel at full pace while Queensland were going backwards.
Not playing it square there, Queensland, so the changeover to come here for New South Wales. And incredibly, no score after 10 minutes. You don't see that very often at all. For Queensland, at least in this women's division, the defence has been so strong. It has been difficult for New South Wales to carve them up. Although here comes Rogers doing exactly that. The pass is just a little wide though. She had Crawford in support. Could have potentially even dummied again and gone herself, Rogers. She'd opened them up.
Yeah, she won't be happy with that. Sammy Rogers in all space in front. So was Crawford. If the pass was executed perfectly, Crawford probably was scoring in the corner to send New South Wales up by 1. Again, a few unforced errors from both teams. We haven't seen Queensland really attack their line. There's only been one shot and unfortunately got the better of them. As did that, unfortunately, for Queensland. Yeah, I think it's only been 2 attacking sets for Queensland on the line, James. Hasn't been too much action down there.
Much improved performance, this one for New South Wales compared to the first 2 matches. Sammy Rogers, I want to see her in a little bit more space. She is regarded as the best winger in Women's Opens division. Plenty of experience behind her as well as Davis comes forward inside the final 40 or so metres here. All the flick pass came out from Danny Davis. Not the first time either. Just looking to open up any kind of an opportunity here against the Queensland defensive line. I've asked a few questions, New South Wales. No answers as of yet. Score remains 0-0. Just shy of 12 minutes gone. Of course, 20-minute halves here for the State of Origin 2022 series, and still the men's open. The decider to come after this one. Moving away from them now. Maddox tries to open up a bit of space. Well watched, and DeFore was in there to shut it down along with Davis.
Well, that's the first time Maddox actually touched the ball. I think it's been nearly 12 minutes played. A good setup, though, by Queensland. See if New South Wales can now capitalise with ball in hand as they head to their substitution box.
DeFore, running into her own player there. Somehow Maiolo was able to snap it up regardless. And just having a look at DeFore on the sideline, she is clutching at herself now. That's a big collision between the two teammates. Young or found Mayolo, who nearly got away from them. Good watchful defence, though, from Rackerman, who also hasn't seen a great deal of ball. Off it comes now to Carney. Pops into acting half a second time over.
Oh.
All late pass. I thought that surely there was a touch first. Yes, referee's on the spot. Files is quick, but it won't matter.
Tell you what, she pulled away, then Files. It'd be a good matchup between Files and Michaelopoulos. Actually, Michaelopoulos and Sammy Rogers both were sprinters back in the day. I tell you what, Files look quite dangerous up that left touchline. Be a good race between Rogers, Michaelopoulos, and Files, I reckon.
She certainly can move. She's actually got quite an interesting running style, which reminds me of Justin Hodges back in the day. It's almost heel to heel as opposed to toe to toe, but she can definitely scoot Lucia Files. The Dybel comes with it here for New South Wales, straightening up the attack. Can we see that sharp left foot of hers come out again? It's a beautiful step. Hops into acting half now. Dybel offers it onward. Michaelopoulos to Young. Young over the top. What a ball that is. Rogers is there in the spot. The referee's going to move. That means the pass is good. And Sammy dives in for the opening try of this final match in the Women's Open Division for State of Origin 2022.
Very smart play from the Blues, going against the grain. It's the ball off the deck from Dybel that sets it up nicely. Courtney Young, hands out in front, gets the ball, passes it straight through the torso, and what a lovely long ball it was out to Rogers. Good team effort. Great touch football try from New South Wales. Using the Queensland defence against them. Great vision by Hannah Dybel and Courtney Young then to throw to the long pass. There you go, New South Wales up 1-0.
Well, it's taken 14 minutes to arrive. We knew it needed something special to get across the line, given how stern the Queensland defence is, and certainly we got what we asked for. Jackson Mills. Curtis goes very close to finding an opening herself. She'll play it now to her captain, Kim Susi. Curtis takes the quick drop off. Files now using those long rangy legs to get very close to the line. However, that it will be caught on the last here. So New South Wales surviving with just over 5 remaining in the first half. Once more they push forward. Pressure back through the middle here from the Queensland Lynx as New South Wales get fresh feet onto the ground. A little bit too over-exuberant there from Maddox. Hasn't seen a great deal of time with the ball. Gives away a penalty there. Mayolo will touch and go again up over halfway. Rogers into acting half. Now Rochelle Davis off the right foot, then straightens off the left. Slattery to Davis. Back to Slattery. Backpedaling here is the Queensland defensive line. Danny Davis at the line. It pass. New South Wales. This is much better play than what we've seen from this side so far throughout the series.
Well, there was a missed opportunity with the exact same setup where Davis swept from right to left, unfortunately hitting the winger, but on this occasion, using her footwork and deceptiveness, looks like she's going to dive at the line. Maddox collapsing into Davis, and Mayolo freaks over. Well, that's New South Wales. 2 tries to nil. Mayolo knows her way across the try line. Actually played a World Cup in 2019 with Mayolo in the Mixed Opens Australian team and played the series with a broken finger. Pretty impressive effort. Just goes to show how much it means to not only play for New South Wales, Australia and Queensland. Definitely means something to these players.
Of course, I understand as well, international fixtures are back on the cards for 2022. Some of these players out here would certainly be looking to put their hands up. Are we expecting, I would say, a fair smattering of both sides to be featured in that end team? Or given how dominant Queensland's been throughout this series so far, we expect a bit more of the Maroons to be featuring in that Women's Open side?
It's a good question, James, but there is so much talent on the park. It's some players vibe in different options, and again, another thing you have to take into account is some players are selected to play against Queensland, where for Australia, sometimes you're playing to beat New Zealand. You're not picking the best team for Australia, you're picking the best team to beat New Zealand, and particular players have different skill sets that New Zealand don't like, basically. So sometimes in order to beat New Zealand, you have to pick the correct players, which is actually an interesting topic, but I'm not a coach, so don't quote me, James.
Not a coach, not a selector.
Not anything, really.
Nothing but a good commentator in the box. That's Jackson Mills, that's for sure. Hannah Dybel pushing forward. Rogers into acting half now. Mayolo, all good touch came in from Maddox to shut things down. Rogers wanting there. I think there might have been a little extra something in that touch. A set of 6 to come here for Semi Rogers. She gets up over halfway now and then plays it 10 metres into the opposition territory. Davis off the right foot. Couple of big dummies coming in there. Oh, strong contact. Ruled to be play on for now. Davis back to Slattery. Feigns to go back on the inside. Oh, they worked the number. Overlap. Davis, however, opened up the gap. Oh, geez, there was tries on offer everywhere, but unfortunately none of them came off.
Danny was on again. She's run that platform 3 times now. Successful one of them. But Davis again on that sweeper platform. We can see her coming from a mile away, right to left. Watch My with the pink laces. She's cooked. She's absolutely cooked. If Davis gives the ball off the deck to Danny, but she knows it too. Give me the ball. Give me the ball.
The try gone begging there for New South Wales. They do still have a 2-try lead though. 2-0 with under 2 minutes to play in this first half. Plenty of time though for Queensland to work their way back into this one. Much better performance so far from the Blues girls. Having lost out in game 1, 4-0, and game 3, should I say game 2, 6-3. They come up towards halfway now. Danny Davis fires it on for Michaelopoulos. Little strike jump too. Slattery picks up good meters. Once more, a nice set. Working forward here for New South Wales. However, the transition is not 100% smooth. They might still get to throw a few things at them here, though. Rogers back on the inside to Nicholas. Oh, nearly opened up a gap once more. Getting very involved so far, Semi Rogers, and coming in off the wing looking for work.
She's out looking for touches. We mentioned before, looking for those super coach points, touches on the balls, meters gained.
Oh, great ball here,
great
though.
ball to Markey.
For Queensland, Markey has a bit of room to move. Across they come with Duff, who does shut it down. They've got to get supporting players onto the pitch now, though, Queensland. Duff once more comes up with the challenge. Now Thomas. Thomas drives forward. Last play here for Queensland. They've got them backpedaling. Ball over the top. Well watched from Rogers. And they shut it down. Rackerman was very close to getting over there.
No one's made the touch. No one's made the touch. I don't know what's going on. Referees have no idea. There's no ref in the centre of the field.
What's happening? There's all sorts of stuff going on at the moment. Queensland are playing the whistle, which is but now we've got absolutely no idea what's going on there. Everybody stopped, including the referee.
So Rackerman's actually stepped off her left foot. Tammy Rogers missed her. So did Zara Nicholas. And everyone stopped. So did the referees. All the players had no idea what was going on.
We were confused in the box.
Rackerman stood there for about 15 seconds wondering, well, no one's got me. What do I actually do with the ball?
Which, for that matter, makes it quite interesting that there was no, I suppose, false touch called as well.
No one said probably yes. No one said yes. They just went, I didn't get her. Play on.
Rackerman eventually decided she would continue on, and that was one of the longest plays you'll ever see. A good 30 seconds by the time it finished. But at half-time, New South Wales do take in a nice little lead here, and there is plenty to play for in the second 20, but at half-time in the Women's Open, it's New South Wales 2, Queensland 0.
If you suffer from muscular aches and pains, you want a massage gel that provides effective relief. Try Physiocrem. Physiocrem contains menthol and naturally derived active ingredients. Arnica, hypericum, calendula, melaleuca. Use Physiocrem for the temporary relief of muscular aches and pains. Physiocrem is available at your local pharmacy, Coles and Woolworths. Use Physiocrem.
Welcome back to CX Coffs International Stadium. Second half about to get underway for the Women's Open Division. The final match of a three-game series. Queensland have already wrapped it up, but New South Wales striking back here for the final match. They lead 2-0. Jackson Mills, who stood out in that first half for you?
Well, Danny Davis took it upon herself to set up those two tries. Sorry, one try coming from right to left on the sweep, and it was Courtney Young throwing that massive long ball. So those two definitely have the hot hand. Would you consider Queensland to be a bit rattled, James?
I think so. New South Wales have come out with a game plan to throw it around a fair bit. They're asking plenty of questions, which perhaps they hadn't done in the first couple of games. Seen plenty of trick shots fired, running at pace as well. And they have won the momentum battle so far, New South Wales. Here they come once more through Dybel up through the centre. Oh, geez, a pass fired straight into the face of Myolo, who did really well to take it. Nearly crunched by Files as well. Now for the first minute in the second half, once more New South Wales showing they can get downfield pretty easily. Curtis gets up over halfway. Good meters on offer there. Support coming now through Andresen. About 35 away from the opposition try line. Tiani Bryce, who really hasn't seen much time on the field so far. Andresen, they've opened them up here, Queensland, and they will get their first try of the match. Ash Carney dives in, and all of a sudden we are back to a very tight ball game.
Yeah, that's dangerous for New South Wales, watching Queensland run effortlessly to the try line through Carney. And Tiani Bryce, you mentioned it, hasn't seen much time on the field, dishing it off. And it's Andreasen coming around, and Carney beating both Mayolo and Isabella Slattery on the outside, just showing how good her foot speed is and why probably one of the best in the game. Getting at the line too, you see her diving all the time, Carney.
So New South Wales looking to respond. Nice and quick here to 4. Opposite for Duff. Duff still getting away from the defenders. Davis back to Michaelopoulos. Steps off the right foot. Here is Danny Davis now. She loves when she's got a retreating defensive line. Ball over the top. Well watched though. Crawford could go nowhere. Nice stuff there from Goodsall, who's had a very strong series so far.
Has been. It was a touch pass in the middle. Madama Thomas just getting the flick on Danny Davis's boot. And she'll tap it 7 metres out for Queensland.
The Queensland coming away from their own end here. Here's Tiani Bryce. Need a bit more time in this second half. Ooh, risky ball over the top. An awkward release too. Certainly wasn't spinning. Up over halfway they come now. Maddock plays it. Good little roll on here for Queensland. But well stopped in the end though from DeFore. It looks to be getting a little bit dangerous when she stepped up to shut down the Queensland attack. Here is DeFore now. Duff in at acting half. Michaelopoulos drives forward up over halfway. DeFore once more. Very busy in this set. She heads towards the substitutions box. Nice transition too from New South Wales. Young doesn't quite get the strike jump though. Danny Davis can't apply much pressure there, and it was just that last roll ball. A little bit slow there on that occasion, Jackson.
He only went about 20 metres in 5 touches, so credit to Queensland's defence. New South Wales just unable to get the roll ball going forward. You see Queensland now back on the attack.
Carney has just picked up that try herself. Certainly can scoot. The dummy comes in from Susie, the captain. Carney once more. Carney's dangerous. Carney finds it over the top. Oh, you've got to love that if you're a Queenslander. Pinpoint accuracy. Paige Markey is on the spot, and we've got a level ball game.
Well, it was a lack of drive from New South Wales that gave Queensland good field position starting into the set. We see Susie setting up the attack for Carney. Steps open. Carney digging right into the line. That's Saver middle. Shelley Davis just let her run through. Davis was actually 30 centimetres to a metre behind the try line and just gifting open space for Carney and setting up Markey in the wing. Well, just like that, under 5 minutes played in the second half, and Queensland are back level. 2 tries.
Oh, Files didn't get back though, so that will be a try here to Maiolo. Yes, confirmed. So 3 tries to 2. And Jackson, I was just going to say, I mean, it's been 20 minutes, an entire half of hard work to get that little buffer erased in the space of about 3 or 4 sets.
Well, don't count New South Wales out yet. That's Maiolo who's picked up her second try off the right foot, getting low under Files, not making it back inside. Referee signalling all clear. Loves her sport, Maiolo, working for the Sydney Swans at the moment. Doing what she does best, which is scoring tries for New South Wales.
The Bryce drops it off. Long ball coming again. They've a little bit of space there. Rackerman hasn't crossed so far in this match. He was desperate to get around Rogers, though, who was watchful. Ball didn't arrive far enough, and you can see Sammy Rogers has been in the walls over the past couple of games. Oh. Plenty of dives. That's a lovely pass coming from Duff to find Michael Opoulos. Plenty of meterage on it. Bryce comes in to shut down to 4th. Yeah, and they'll get another 6 there.
Thought it might have been a little bobble in the ruck, but referee indicating a little stinky foot in the ruck by Tiani Bryce.
Michael Opoulos now. Big bend into the chest there of Marama Thomas, who went reeling just a little bit from it. DeFore slows things down. Ooh, risky pass very close towards the hands of Files. Now gets in an acting half.
I'm going to say that's the winger making the touch. DeFore is correct in identifying that Sammy Rogers was open for a try. Unfortunately, the pass not executing on the mark, but that was the correct option. Rackerman coming in, making the touch.
And now finding plenty of space here as well, Rackerman, up over halfway. Files now, works it towards the middle. This is the one problem, though. We're trying to take that quick option. There's no support here for Queensland. Eventually, they'll get a bit of reinforcements arriving. Maddox still looking for players, and that is, of course, the consequence of trying to operate down that short side. Now it looks to be a better roll on, though, for Queensland. Maddox off the left foot. Very sharp work. Sargent says straighten things up here. Oh, what have they called there, Jackson?
They said they played the ball without actually being touched, was signalled by the referee. It is annoying, especially when you're a player and you're about to stick your arm out and play the ball and the defender pulls out at the last minute. The little cheeky little...
Jeez, that was close to Ford. The Queensland have just turned it over, as you mentioned, Jackson, and New South Wales nearly responded in like kind. That one's certainly going to be a penalty against Queensland there. Very heavy contact on Sammy Rogers, who's back to her feet now.
There's definitely going to be contact on someone that's touched the ball nearly every set in this game, Sammy Rogers.
So she'll have a little break now. As Davis and Young operate through the middle passage. Here's Courtney Young again, Rochelle Davis from right to left, and a little bit of hot potato passing over the top. Young now off the right foot. Oh, tried to get away from the touch of Mai. He just got there in time. Young tips it on to Danny Davis. Davis, oh, big dummy comes out. Sargent was on the spot, though, and she closed it down and saved that issue like Private Ryan.
Good touch in the end by Sargent. I actually fell for that dummy from Davis for a second. I thought she was going to turn it back on the inside. So deceptive. Sometimes it's not even in the ball movement. It's in the eyes. When you get eye contact with the attacker, sometimes they can throw you off just by looking. Sometimes it's important to actually watch the ball, watch the player's hips. Never, ever look in the eyes.
Well, if there's one thing I learned from Shakira, it's that your hips don't lie. So that's a very good observation from you, Jackson Mills. So Andresen comes forward. Oh, Curtis at overrunner. Out of acting half. Andresen again now. Gets the touch. Curtis flinging it on here to Susie, who straightens. Now they're looking to launch an attack. Andresen, though, was never going to get around Davis, who had already retreated the distance. Little wry smirk, too, from Davis. He knew she had a measure. Halfway through the set here for Queensland. New South Wales with a slim little margin. 11.5 to go here at CX Toffs International Stadium. Series already claimed by Queensland, but by no means a dead rubber. Neither one of these sides wants to give an inch here. Curtis picks it up. Here they come on the charge. Queensland beats through the middle, but Duff is there to reel it in. Now New South Wales can launch their own counter-attack. Maiolo comes up through the middle. Curtis makes the touch. The four keeps things going and heading towards that sideline. In fact, it's Davis. Now Nicholas is out there up over halfway. Crawford on to Dybel. Meters on offer here for New South Wales. Great run. Flattery off the right foot. He's worked an overlap. Oh, they just had to keep the width there, New South Wales. Still could be alive. Tries to get the ball at the top. Slattery the passes just behind the supporting player. But once more, Queensland in danger on that set.
So much going on from New South Wales. I think every player touched the ball in that set. Queensland coming up with an error. So New South Wales gifted good field position. 10 minutes played in the second half. 3 tries to 2 in favour of New South Wales. As we mentioned, Queensland have already wrapped up the series, but New South Wales, if they can score another try here, that might panic the Queenslanders.
So Davis drops it off. Receives it back here from Slattery. It comes off the left foot. Wants to engage that defensive line. Maddock not falling for it. Nor is Tiani Bryce. Now Bryce eventually makes the challenge. Not coming up quickly enough. So it has worked there for New South Wales. Another set to play with. Slattery being grabbed from Danny Davis. Slattery, short ball. Oh, Dybel. Wonderful hands. Rogers with the outstretching arm. Just a great touch at the depth there. Marama Thomas. The Dybel fires it on. Great play from both sides in attack and defence respectively. And Bryce, good pressure there, Jackson.
Simple error. New South Wales, they're the ones that kill you. Just simple passes from New South Wales going to ground. And again, you don't want to let Queensland get a roll on as they do so well.
Exactly what they've done here. Maddock drops it off. Fortunately, a nice heavy touch from New South Wales, just slowing momentum a little bit there. It's still operating through that central passage with Mai. Oh, good ball back to it. Flings it over the top. Can Rackerman get away? Oh, wonderful cover defence from Crawford, who did not give up on the play at any point. The Slattery now can work it away. So too Dybel. In comes Michaelopoulos, who fires a late pass. Davis trying to work Rogers into a gap. Once more, very expansive play from New South Wales. They have thrown it around plenty in this match. Potentially that was always the way to get around it. And that's quite forward. You're right, Jackson, with the jumping in the box here. Spot on the money. Might have to put you on as a linesman.
Everyone in the world thinks they're the best referee until you're actually out there. It's actually quite a difficult job. There's so much going on. You have to watch the play of the ball, players off the ball. You got to remember the tackle count. That's probably the hardest thing, I reckon, remembering what touch it actually is.
The big question I have for you is when you're actually out there on the field, do you remember what you're saying right now in the box?
Absolutely nothing.
Can't imagine the competitive genes take over. Touch comes in there from DeFore. Now Maddock. Maddock off the left foot, then diving like Superman through a little gap. They just shut it down in time, but that was pretty crazy stuff from Maddock. Back to the 7-metre mark they come. Andresen. Maddock once more with the fancy footwork. Andresen over the top. Crawford does a great job to shut things down. But what about the skill, the agility, the sheer gymnastics of it all there from Maddock?
Was very good athleticism from Maddock. But again, Crawford making a try-saving touch. That's 2 in a row from Crawford out on that left-hand touchline. Comes from a breather now. Doing her bit for her state. Crawford's been strong all campaign. We see Davis now out of half, met by Maddock. Some questions asked at the ref. Oh, the referee's nearly done an ankle. Trying to juggle the ball. The crowd goes up. Nothing better seeing that. Oh, that's a classic. Nearly does his ankle, just trying to kick the ball back to the mark. The crowd love that one.
Well, this is why we don't kick in touch football. Things like that happen once you bring that into the equation. Sargent comes forward. Here now is Thomas. Last play. No ankles being done so far from the referees. Oh, not a great ball. Still alive here and almost crouching as if she was afraid of the pass on that occasion there. Was the wide person out there for Queensland? I think it might have been Goodsall. So with about 6.5 minutes to go, New South Wales still in a good position here. Oh, they passed very deep on their own line. Young now straightens things up. Heavy touch coming in from Bryce. And Young wanted the penalty, not forthcoming. Myolo, Big Johnny opens up half the gap. They keep operating down that short side. Oh, Bryce again coming in with heavy contact. That's a good run, though, from Duff. Rogers into acting half. Diable only knows one way, and that's directly up through the middle of the pit. Not a bad end to the set, really, though, for New South Wales, given where they were after about 3 or 4 plays. However, Queensland working quickly here. Markey with room to move. Michaelopoulos is there, but the ball goes to ground. Another set to come here for Queensland. They're just starting to creak a little bit. Where can they get that levelling try from, Jackson?
We've seen her all campaign. I'm thinking it's Maddock, the 6. She's sweeping round right to left with the ball. So I thought she was going to get the ball there, but it's been Maddock with the hot hand. Carney scored a few tries out in the left-hand link. I'd say Maddock has the ability to throw both left to right and right to left. He's had her hands in many try assists in the past 3 games.
Well, here she is now, receiving from acting half Maddock, or stopping on a run. Trying to open up just half a gap. Closing in on just 5 minutes remaining. Maddock once more with ball in hand. Drops it off. Receives from acting half. Now quickly switching the emphasis back out wide. Oh, the arms went flying up from Pappenhausen. Did enough to put him off. Floats it away to Susie. Now Maddock. Susie in an acting half again. Maddock off the left foot. Oh, breaking ankles in the process. Flicked on twice. Oh, it would have been pretty superb had it come off. Just falling short of Paige Markey, though.
Man, my knees are hurting after watching Maddock come off that left foot. At speed through all the pressure through the left knee. Again, great defensive effort by New South Wales. Pappenhausen's again shutting it down twice in a row on that left-hand touchline. Getting the skills from Crawford. Great defensive wingers New South Wales have, as well as Rogers in the mix. But that's probably the 5th time in a row New South Wales haven't been able to hit their 7 and really give themselves an attacking opportunity. Credit to the Queensland defence. They are trailing by 1, Queensland. Time on the side of New South Wales, 4 to play. Can Queensland squeeze in a late try here in the second?
Lundrason comes up over halfway. Now Mai drives deep. Good release there for Walsh. Mai once more. Gets the touch from Duff. Walsh, last play, over the top. Rogers watching well. Markey had shifted to the left-hand side, and Rogers followed her all the way across. Made sure there couldn't be any opening whatsoever. With about 3.5 remaining, time really is beginning to become quite a pressure here for Queensland. Myolo in an acting half to 4. Drives up towards the 10-metre mark, shy of the halfway line. Flat pass from DeFore. Myolo up over halfway. Nicholas pops it off. DeFore once more. Here to Rochelle Davis. Lovely right to left cutout ball. Oh, Myolo had an opportunity to link with Nicholas there. Didn't take it. Davis comes forward. And smart play from Rochelle Davis. Ran directly at the offside Rebecca Mai.
The Queensland player down in back play. Caught something in the eye. I think it's Hinarangi and Grayson. Must have caught a head knock. Maybe a finger in the eye. She seems to be all right. She's walking fine. But Carney now comes on into the defensive line.
Davis to Rochelle Davis, diving from a long way out. Rachel Walsh was on the spot, though.
Tell you what, James, this is an important set for New South Wales. If they score here, it's going to be very difficult for Queensland to score 2 tries in 2 minutes.
One thing they want to do is avoid the drop-off New South Wales. Then it becomes very much a lottery. Young over the top, floating pass. Oh, Crawford did a great job to reel it in. Backwards out of the hands, did float forward. Nicholas in an acting half. Now to Young. Full pressure up on Rochelle Davis. Here is Danny Davis. So Davis to Davis. Now back to Danny with the big dummy. Last play coming in. Rochelle to Courtney Young. Oh, Young threatened to engage the line. Good watchful defence again, Rebecca Mai. A couple of massive plays in the last few sets for her. So up they come once more. Walsh. Queensland know this is pretty much their last opportunity. They might get one more set after this. Forward they come now with Walsh. Gianni Bryce. Files is off back on the field now. Bryce drives hard and straight. Here she is now picking up the ball once more. Davis, getting it from the first touch, just getting in there in time there was Nicholas. And Rochelle Davis has been left on the ground. He's a bit sore and sorry. We saw Andresen go down for Queensland last set. They might need to find a quick replacement. He's not looking good out there.
Well, this will be tackle 2 inside their own 7-metre mark. The Queensland looking for a big defensive effort to get one more shot at the line. That's tackle 4.
Rogers has done a great job there to try and straighten things up. And on the last, they at least make it to the halfway line. Dybel back into the action and great meters on offer. They try and bat it forward.
They need to get on it.
They'll get one more set here, Queensland. Just over a minute remaining. New South Wales don't want to give away a penalty, but more importantly, they don't want to try to be conceded. So they'll be doing everything in their power to stop exactly that happening. Crawford makes the touch as it's dropped off from Maddox. Rackerman is out there. Now Andresen. Andresen to the centre of the field. Duff makes the touch. They've got them backpedaling. Here they come. Carney with the ball. Markey. Good defence, though, from Rogers. Turns it back on the inside. Pressure up more. Flattery was there. It's still 6s and 7s here for New South Wales. Ball back over the top. Rogers shuts it nicely. And that's New South Wales pumping that set, but they've survived Jacksonville.
Great defensive effort. Good scrambling defence by New South Wales. I tell you what, Queensland have had a lot of attacks on the line, but it just didn't look like scoring against that New South Wales defence. So credit to them. Yes, Queensland take the shield back north, but credit to New South Wales as well for sticking it out for this third game.
Good ball released here. Slattery trying to find an opening here for Crawford. And with about 3 seconds left on the clock, the siren will sound. New South Wales, they might not have come away with a series victory, but they'll still be very pleased with their efforts in this final of 3 fixtures for the Women's Open. They went into half-time 2-0 up. Queensland staged a bit of a comeback to 2-2. And that late try coming in the form of Maiolo was just enough to give New South Wales the victory. Jackson Mills, who is your woman of the match?
It's a tough call, James. Few of them had their hands in everything. I mean, Rogers was in everything, trying to get a touch on the ball every single set. Davis, plenty of injections. Dyball as well. Maiolo with 2 tries. It's hard to put it down. I wouldn't know who to give the Dally M points to. I guess scoring 2 tries is something special at State of Origin level. So Maiolo, the number 4, really doing herself proud as well as her state. So congratulations to Queensland for wrapping up the series. But again, credit to New South Wales to avoid the whitewash and beating Queensland, a dominant Queensland side throughout this campaign. So well done to New South Wales on this occasion.
Of course, that means that across the 3 matches, Queensland winning game 1 4-0, game 2 6-3, but New South Wales victorious in the final fixture 3-2. Now, don't you go too far either. We've got an absolute ripping contest to close out the action here for the final day of the 2022 State of Origin series from Coffs Harbour. It is the Men's Open, a decider between New South Wales and Queensland.
You've been a fantastic supporter of the touch football and NRL partnership. Are you impressed with the talent that's being produced by both our male and female players?
Yeah, I think every time I watch the touch, I get more and more impressed. I think when we look at pathways to rugby league, and you look at the way parents look at our game, this is the perfect pathway for a kid coming through. It teaches you all the skills, showcases speed, and the biggest thing about touch is working together, and that's everything we try to, we insist on our teams.
The weather has played some havoc this weekend with the Junior State Cup organisers, but our youngest ones are enjoying themselves. Did you ever play in conditions as tough as this?
Absolutely. When I grew up, I think we spent like 2 months of the year playing on grounds like this where, councils never seem to cancel the venue, which happens every week now, which is crazy, and you just learn to play in the mud. I also spent plenty of years over in England on kangaroo tours, playing on muddy grounds, soaking wet, grey, raining, and absolutely loved it. And turning up yesterday, watching kids diving in the mud, diving in the water, and seeing the girls sit around in the mud, stinking, it just brings great resilience. And what could be better than being a teenager and stuck in mud?
State Cup now sees some of our ex-NRL players running around for their local touch association, like Nathan Fiend, Scott Prince, Steve Menzies and Cliffy Lyons. What is it going to take to get you at the next State Cup? No pressure, but let's see you having a run around with those boys.
I'm not sure. I've done a few things where I've it's when your brain takes control of your body, and it hasn't helped me. I've trained with the girls a few times, and they're the 18s, they're pretty good. So a couple of times I try to show them up, and it cost me that night where I just lie down, had to ice. And so the body's telling me give me a few triggers at the moment, but I'll definitely try, because the area I sort of live in, Manly area, they love touch. The organisation's ran fantastic. I really wish they had a team in the state carnival that I watched before all the NRL games. So I know that they're very ambitious about getting a team in soon, and they definitely deserve it. I think Manly are one of the sort of strongest clubs out of all the teams. So
any future talent you've kept your eye on this weekend for maybe an up-and-coming State of Origin player?
Heaps of talent. There is talent galore hidden, obviously not just men either. I think the girls, if anyone, just watching them improve over the years has been incredible. So I know a lot of them are starting to play tackle football now, and then just getting them passing a footy, I think it's just a great thing. But there is talent galore, both male and female.
Lots of 1-1, ladies and gentlemen. Please put your hands together for the New South Wales Men's Open.
Well, good evening and welcome to the 2022 State of Origin Series, live from CX Coffs International Stadium. An absolute ripping fixture to close the final day of the 2022 series. It's a decider between Queensland and New South Wales in the Men's Open. James Preston and Jackson Mills joining you for commentary. Let's begin by going through Queensland's lineup. The number 1 is Liam Bauer, 2, James Courtney, Peter Norman in the 3, Jake Notley is the 4, Corey Russell 5, Tim Bartson 6, Jaden Benbow is the 7, Damon Moore in number 8, Malcolm Kenny the 9, Bailey Assay on debut this series, and in number 10, Justin Cridlin is the 11, the 12 is Adam Pride, Harrison Griffin, last year's man of the series, is the 13, Hayden Moffat in the 14, And Liam Bauer is the 15. Jackson Mills, welcome to the booth. Take us through the New South Wales lineup.
Well, through 1 to 14, we've got Jonathan Palau, Madaliso Masachi, Jaden Ashby, Jesse Jenkins, Jack Edwards, Dylan Hennessy, Josh Moffat, Nicholas Good, Maurice Kennedy, Mitch Wilson, John Kennedy, Kai Simbalan, Justin Costello, Luke Kane, and the coach is Joel Willoughby.
This one beautifully set. A tight fixture across both matches so far. Of course, you're on the call for game 2, and it was incredible scenes, end-to-end play, and very physical as well from both these sides. That's what we expect for Origin, though.
Well, there was a bit of niggle. There was 4 players sent to the sin bin. I haven't seen something like that at any touch football level before. So this is a decider. A bit of late mail. Corey Russell did go down injured in that second game, but he's out there. I spoke to him post-match. He's fine, he's fit, he's healthy, he's ready to go. And Jake Notley, he's got a crowd of supporters. Nicknamed the Gazelle. They've got him pasted on the back of their shirts. It's outstanding. There's about 15 or 20 of them. And if we see Jake Notley in the open, I tell you what, the crowd is going to go berserk.
Well, the stage is set nicely, and New South Wales will have to defend their line to start with. Queensland with first use of the ball. Here they come through Russell. Russell up towards that 7-metre mark, loses the hat. The long one comes, directly into, I think, the face there of Griffin. Well, that is an absolute brilliant Falcon, one that should be on highlight reels for years to come.
Well, if we can get a close-up of Griffin's face, I bet you there's Touch Football Australia printed into his cheek. Russell didn't hold back on that right to left. He absolutely fed it into the tin of Harry Griffin, who we mentioned. He's been in the wars. Harry Griffin went off last night with a bruised lung, was actually coughing up blood. Quick little trip to hospital. That's not going to stop him playing Origin.
Now he's back here. We know they go to another level when they put on that maroon jersey, that is for sure. It's up New South Wales step to shut things down. Pride slobbing things here. Now Pride back once more. The long pass comes. Well watched though in defence. Tipping across, that was Palau. Malcolm Kenny fires it back towards the middle here, and I think they're going to say forward pass there from Queensland. So New South Wales get a chance to work it away from their own end. Of course, 20-minute halves if you're just joining us for the first time today. All to play for in this one. One match apiece in the series. New South Wales looking to claim it once more. Last year they lost out in this division to Queensland. Hennessy, great ball at the line. The long pass comes. It's fantastic ball. Down, no pitches there. New South Wales strike first, and after 1:40, it's 1-0.
Well, we know the capability that Hennessy has coming out of dummy half, throwing right to left. The players would have been worried about the absolute bullet, but remember, there's still a guy running the middle hole, and it's Nick Good. Look at him, straight in between Pride and Notley, and not even thinking about it. Throwing a 20-metre pass out to Palau. Knows his way across the try line, and a great opening to the third match, the decider for New South Wales.
Great start for the Blues. Here come Queensland, though, looking to hit right back or bend down and then off to Justin Cridlin. They're up in the face very quickly there. It's Justin Costello who shut things down. Out it comes now to Moffat. Been impressive so far in this series, as has Josh Moffat for New South Wales, the two Moffat boys.
Oh.
No relation. Great footwork, popping the pass there and looking for one of them, that Hayden Moffat.
Cridlin showing his footwork, making Nick Good slip over just with that left foot, getting a little rooster play and stepping back short side. So a little getaway free card there by New South Wales, who are back on the attack.
Here is Hennessy, regarded by many as the best player in touch football. Now he's got ball in hand. What a pass that is, 30 metres flying over. A good cover defence from Bailey Assay, a man who has made his debut at men's open level this year for Origin. Been very good, scored about a 70-metre try in the second match. It ultimately proves to be quite an important one in the grand scheme of things as Griffin comes forward, not coughing up blood and also not getting hit in the face by any more footballs. Away it comes now to Russell, the big dummy, straightening things up now. They've got them backpedaling. Here comes Queensland. Griffin off the right foot, opens up the gap. The pass came in, perhaps not necessary, but he was trying to work something there for his side to get back into this one.
Good exciting play there by Griffin. It was actually well done by a man with the ball, Josh Moffat, coming up as the link, making the touch, which takes away that open side play, but Griffin using his footwork to burn Kennedy on the short side. Unfortunately, ball going to ground. Queensland unable to find a player. But they look sharp, James. They look sharp.
Certainly do, as Luke Kane comes forward now. All the touch came in. Nice stuff there from Pete Norman. Norman, one of the key exponents for this Queensland side. So much play happens in and around him as Madalitzo Masashi makes the touch, the captain for New South Wales. They come from right to left. Norman back through the middle now, picking up quickly. Good pace about their play here, Queensland. Norman looping around on that open left-hand side. The touch comes in from Wilton. Before they come, great little pass, but also well read in defence from Jack Edwards. Still one more play here for Queensland. Fridlin plays it. They come forward. Can't quite maintain possession. Ball spilled and Luke Kane comes up with it. Now New South Wales with a chance to work it away from their own end. So Palau comes towards the transition area. Not a bad one either from New South Wales. They keep the pressure on. Kennedy, forward. Ashby receives it back now from Nick Good, the captain for New South Wales, alongside Madalitzo Masashi. Hennessy, the no pass to Palau, who even produced the goose step.
I'll tell you what, that is so deceptive as a defensive winger. Palau doesn't even have the ball, and he's managed to throw a little goosey, trying to get around Courtney. Courtney aware of it, though. Knew exactly what was going on, but something a little off screen is good.
Good.
Not
He's
in a
not
good
healthy.
way. He's copped one probably in the sternum.
Great to see him back at this level, though. Of course, you cast your mind back to 2020 playing in the State Cup there, and he unfortunately did his ACL. Wasn't able to take part in the Origin Series last year for 2021, which, of course, was a holdover from 2020.
Down. That is a try. That is a try.
Long-range dive.
Wow. Oh, my goodness. The referee's called touch. I didn't think so. I thought Ashby scored that try for sure.
We go from a good 7 metres out and slid along the turf to try and get all the way to the line. Ashby out in front now of John Kennedy, one of the two Kennedy boys. They'll keep working away here, Queensland. So under the pump early in this one, the first 6 minutes definitely being dominated by New South Wales. Benbow comes forward. Slow transition here from Queensland. Allows New South Wales to set the defensive line. Russell onto the action now. Last play. Here comes Moore. Big pass over the top. Still alive. Masashi hasn't got the touch. He certainly claims it. And I think they're going to rule forward pass anyway. Yes, they do.
Good roll on by Queensland. Moore showing his skill, coming out of dummy half. You don't want to leave him too much time. New South Wales sort of sitting back in their defensive line, letting Moore run deep into it, but with a good read by Madalitzo Masashi. Out on that right-hand touch line. Kennedy laying down the law to Queensland. There's been a bit of niggle in games 1 and 2.
Haven't seen a great deal so far, but don't rule out it.
Don't worry, James.
Still
It's
happening.
coming. It's
It'll
coming.
be there, for sure. Palau hops into acting half. Oh, dangerous pass to Hennessy from Luke Kane. The Queensland defence had stepped up. Hennessy hurdles his own plays. A pass at the line to Palau, and somehow nearly created something out of nothing, which is what Dylan Hennessy does best.
But keep in mind, that's the winger taking that hit up. That's Palau coming in off the left-hand touchline and just running what's known as sort of a silly line. Sometimes you catch a defensive line napping. You're not going to watch a winger come from the sideline and run all the way across the field. So sometimes it does pay off. You see New South Wales gifted good field position now.
Incorrect play the ball from Queensland. As the Blues come up over halfway, a bit of a mix-up there. Norman jammed out of the line and he put enough pressure on to make the turnover occur. It's 5 minutes and Queensland with good field position here as Pete Norman comes up towards the halfway line. Now it's with Benbow. Benbow waiting back in the middle, receives it now. Norman also in support off the right foot. Great step. Benbow picks it up. Norman fires a flat pass up in the line was Moffat but didn't touch it. Change over here. New South Wales now with a chance to work it away from the end. Here is Moffat linking up with Masashi, who certainly can fly. Great defensive winger in particular, though, is Madalitzo Masashi. Nick Good back into the action, former Australian captain. Here is Hennessy, dumbing, firing it now, finding Kennedy. Last play. Hennessy, the big goose step comes out. Long ball, tunnel off the back of it. I was taken back to year 3 with that one. However, no try coming for New South Wales. Queensland doing just enough in defence.
Tell you what, that's a great roll on by New South Wales and being gifted the ball back. There's space left if they take it. Oh, Good wants the mark. Oh, man, he wanted the quick tap. Tony Calabria not allowing it. But that set before, New South Wales rolled from their 7 to Queensland 7 very easily. So Queensland finding it probably a little bit tougher this game to stop the roll of New South Wales.
Hennessy to Good. Good steps off the right foot. Hennessy will just slow things down here. Before launching another attack. Surely offside, I thought there from Griffin. He was up very quickly. Referee says he just got his feet behind the line. Good now in an acting half. Back to Hennessy. Now touch it off one more time here. Hennessy. Oh, no.
Oh,
he's
it's
up
lovely.
with an intercept. Away to the game here. Referee says call it. There is Masashi. However, Queensland. A big kickoff from the Gazelle. The white shirts are going up. We've got to get a shot of that. The beer is sprayed all over the stand. And Jake Notley, the Gazelle, trundles home.
We mentioned at the start of the game, if we saw him in open pasture, there's not many that are going to chase him down, and Matt just fits so perfectly with all the fans on the sideline. If we can get a close-up of his face, he starts to stick the tongue out from here. Oh, good work from Notley. Picked out the ball from New South Wales in the perfect position in that passing lane, but it is Hennessy now with an absolute rocket right to left. But oh, what a sight that is. Jake Notley in open pasture.
Certainly does run like a gazelle.
The fact that
I don't know if the tongue usually comes out
Oh.
from that animal, though.
The fact that he had his tongue out, that makes it so much better. That's hilarious.
I think the only time I've run with the tongue out is when I'm running late for the bus and I've got to get there. It's when I'm particularly shit.
Yeah, I mean, one of the fastest men in the game, and it's great to see him at this level running away from the New South Wales defence as Queensland back on the attack, looking sharp now.
Here come the Maroons. Well into enemy territory, and they're all backpedaling here. Russell off the right foot now has opened up half a gap. Did Moffat get there in time? I don't think so. Referees like it. They've gone bang, bang, Queensland. And the Gazelle boys are up again. They love it. 2 tries to 1.
Just watch the footwork of Corey Russell on this replay. Corey Russell straightens up. You watch him, he steps quickly off his left, but comes hard off his right, really straightening up the middle defender in Simbola. And see that little left and right. Just that one little second gives that separation. And a great assist, Corey Russell, but it's Harry Griffin, the man with the bruised lung. Nothing bruised about his pride, though. Harry Griffin again doing his thing for his state. As we mentioned at the start of the game, Harry Griffin player of the series last year and really stepping up to that name again.
Will be interesting to see who takes that out this year. Plenty of good performance across both sides. Of course, so much could rest on who actually claims this final match here. It is the decider, and Queensland, for the first time, are now leading 2 tries to 1 midway through the first half. That's bounced off Queensland. Won't be a factor here for the Maroons as New South Wales receive possession. Big dummy comes across.
They're in trouble here, New South Wales, in trouble.
In even more trouble, however, that one will certainly release a bit of the pressure that Queensland were applying. Another set of 6 to come. Touched off here from Jack Edwards. Allow. Now Edwards once more. Allow. Tipping it on here to Jaden Ashby. Ashby finding support in the form of Edwards. Edwards once more. Quick hands. Hennessy. Diving. Did Jenkins get there? No, the touch is coming from Queensland.
What a touch that is from Bauer. Late call up into the Queensland team and running from the middle of the park to Pip Jenkins at the end, but 6 again to New South Wales.
Plenty of room to move with here. New South Wales. Fresh plays for this set. Good plays it, receives it back, and now finds Hennessy. Good to Hennessy. Short ball here to Ashby. Ashby diving from distance once more. Now he's suggesting Benbow certainly didn't get him.
Wow.
And that he got on the outside of Pride. And I think they are going to award that one. Yes, they do this time. So Jaden Ashby, second time around, he has claimed it.
Well, there we go. The offside call and Ashby diving straight over the line. The Penrith representative thinking around between Hennessy and Good, and Ashby getting it on the out from Hennessy. Good ball speed, gliding in underneath Pride. And also Jaden Bembo claimed the touch, but referee calling offside.
So Queensland now in a good position here. Norman back through the centre of the ground. Griffin is there. Was that touched by New South Wales? Yes. Referee says a hand in there from Mitch Wilson. Another set to play with here for Queensland. Griffin comes forward. Norman, big dummy comes out. And that pass has gone absolutely nowhere near its mark. That's very unusual from the likes of Pete Norman.
And apologies to the viewers at home. Apparently when we're getting a bit excited, James, they can't hear. So we'll do our best to sound excited while keeping calm at the same time.
We might have to have a little look at the technical side of things at halftime. So appreciate your patience if it is cutting out at certain points. As Masashi comes up over halfway. Good little roll ball there. Hennessy, the no-look pass. Probably not necessary, though. Lau was trying to storm through a gap.
Queensland quick tap too through Russell. Going to get some reinforcements on quite quickly and trying to get a drive through touches 3, 4 and 5. We're trying to see who's coming on. It's Cridlin probably going to get a strike dump. One of the best in the game at isolating a defender. Getting someone with full class, and Moffat's out on the right-hand touchline. He may go to him.
Cridlin drops it off. Benbow now. Oh, great footwork. Playing the ball over the top of Costello, Palau, Hennessy. They're all there to shut him down nice and quickly. New South Wales holding firm at present. Another very tight game. That's all we've seen so far between these two sides. Good meters on offer here for the Blues. Palau hops into acting half. Up over halfway. Good roll on occurring here. Edwards, Palau. Forward they come with Good. Good. Dummies on the outside. Goes to Musashi, but good pressure jamming in from James Courtney.
Queensland, I think, on top of momentum-wise at the moment. New South Wales were last to score, but now New South Wales, good field position again off a Queensland error.
Wanted the strike dump there, Queensland. They couldn't quite get away with it, though. It was not on the mark. New South Wales offered another opportunity here. Kennedy comes forward. Now with Moffat. Moffat to Ashby, whose hat is still on the ground there. Moffat at pace and at the line. All nearly opened up half a gap. Norman stood tall, though. Comes to the open side. And a real mix-up there between Jenkins and also Kennedy. Neither really knew what the other one was doing. Before they come with Bailey Assay, the big winger, charging upfield. Norman gets it on further now. Out to Griffin. Meters on offer here for Courtney. Fresh support arriving. Russell back to Norman. Once more they drive forward here, Queensland. Slowing things down now. Russell. Now to Norman. Play on here for Queensland. Oh, what a bullet ball, but just missing the mark there. No touch from New South Wales. About 3.5 to go, and we are level. Jackson Mills at 2 apiece.
There's some good ball speed there for Queensland. Probably just need a bit of a roll on through touches 3 and 4. Bit static from Queensland in the middle of the park. They're so deadly. That was marginally forward.
Good. Up towards halfway now, but not played correctly there from New South Wales.
It's always the touch football gods, James, that come in and play the karma card. Actually, some interesting late mail out of the New South Wales box, injury-wise. The assistant coach actually did his hamstring in the warm-up. Mark Boland has actually done his hamstring watching the boys warm up. How about that?
Well, you nearly did your knees in here watching Hannah Dybel in the last match, stepping off the left foot. So it can happen, that's for sure. I've already done mine, so I've got nothing else to tear. Here comes Russell. Russell over the top. Masachi blocks it down once more. He says, get that stuff out of here, NBA style.
I'd be very interested to see if there's a penalty to Queensland for a late knock on Russell. He popped an absolute shot after releasing the ball. He's been in the walls all day, Corey Russell. Heading over to the sub-box, limping his way there. He was on the ground, clutching at his sternum, probably got the wind knocked out of him.
He looks quite ginger. Keep an eye on him. Wrapping around now. It's Moffat who came into the action. Benbow. Back to Moffat and now Benbow. Waiting throughout the centre. Just inviting the defence up to meet them here, Queensland. Benbow, flat at the line. Long ball comes over the top. Isolated the link brilliantly. Hennessy says, that's on me, boys. But Queensland, they don't care how they get it. As long as they do, Justin Cridlin dives in. They take the lead once more.
Griffin and Cridlin linking up so well. Look at this ball that Griffin throws. It's so hard. He just gets it over the top of Hennessy. Caught a sinker pass. Knows exactly what he's doing. It looks like he throws it hard because he pulls it from the side of his hip, but he actually releases it really early. And Cridlin doing his task to perfection for Queensland. Well, there you go. Queensland, 3 tries to 2 with a minute and a half to play in the first half.
Tennessee, nice ball out in front of Kennedy, but just jamming in off the wing was Assay. That might just be enough here for Queensland to take that halftime lead. 3-2. New South Wales will probably get maybe a full set, at least half a set after this, but they'll have to work it away from deep in their own territory based on this roll-on that Queensland have got. Great meters on offer here. The Gazelle, Jake Notley comes forward. Now Norman, turning it back towards the open side. Here's Notley once more. Such a quick touch. She came in and had to. A very important touch. They were wanting to get the flick on there through Cridlin, who's just gone in the last set that Queensland had. Good defence from Masashi, who's been excellent across all 3 games without the ball. Hasn't seen a great deal of open space on the attacking side of things. Kennedy steps off the left foot, goes back to the mark to play it. Didn't actually quite think he made the mark, to be honest with you.
Neither did I.
Ashby, now Palau. Hennessy picks it up, or at least tries to knock on right on halfway.
Oh, it was. I'm very confused, James. I actually don't know what's going on. It seems that they're blown half-time. Has the hooter gone?
The hooter hasn't gone, at least from the official timepiece. Bit of discussion. The referees have just said that's it, boys. The New South Wales are exiting the field. There's the hooter now.
Well, there's the hooter now.
Well, that's very strange. We've been operating from the hooter all day today and all day yesterday. But for the first time in a long time, we've seen the referee's whistle full half-time, but I guess we do play the referee's whistle after all. So at half-time, despite a rather confusing finish to that first half, it's a ripping game so far. Plenty to play for. 20 minutes to see who will be our men's Opens champions. And at this point in time, it is Queensland in the ascendancy. 3 tries to 2, all the second half in about 5 minutes. Welcome back to CX Coffs International Stadium here in lovely Coffs Harbour. The final match of what has been a brilliant two-day series for State of Origin here, and the final match in particular for the Men's Open Division. It is a decider, New South Wales and Queensland jousting for triumph, for victory. And at the moment, it is Queensland in the ascendancy, 3-2. Jackson Mills in the booth with me as New South Wales get the first use of the ball, and Kennedy comes forward. Kennedy now to Hennessy, driving upfield. Hennessy threatening to link up with his wide men, receives it back from Kennedy once more. Hennessy on the last now. The long ball comes out, trying to pop it back on the inside, and that's close but no cigar, Jackson Mills.
It's a great read by Bailey Assay. You could see Hennessy winding up for the left pass, so very telegraphed that it was going to go to the wing. So Assay, no problem shutting that down. But some little halftime updates from our good friend Scott McAllister out of the Queensland box. Queensland feeling like New South Wales are actually running out of legs. They want to really focus on their defensive line. We let this play unfold with Russell.
Russell gets it away now. Still room here for more. The touch came across, though, from Costello. Had to be made.
Well, they believe New South Wales, as I mentioned, running out of legs. They want to make their defensive decision-making and stops in front. They're very calm in the box. Very calm in the box at half-time, and Queensland feel like they're getting on top.
So here comes Nick Good. Now Hennessy, the one-handed, pick up a lovely one as well. Not trying to wrap around. It was a good little release there from Luke Kane. Hennessy just couldn't get there in time. Now another stoppage here. We've seen plenty of this in the men's opens, especially in game 2, where it was just constant whistles being blown.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started, James. Obviously, someone's copped a knock in the jaw. At least it's a penalty. We did see 4 players, as mentioned, sin-binned in the previous match. So let's just hope the niggle doesn't get too much for the boys.
So here comes Hennessy now, gifting it back to Luke Kane. Kane looks to launch an attack. Kane, he worked the numbers brilliantly for Palau. If it hit the mark, he was in for all money. Would have been his second for the day as well, Palau.
The referee actually signalling that Luke Kane didn't actually get touched before he put the ball on the ground. So penalty to Queensland. They had a good roll on. The first set from Queensland was so good. Typical Queensland, absolutely textbook, driving forward, very direct. Fast foot speed, fast ball speed. A little bit of a breakdown here for Queensland, though.
Yeah, Griffin overran acting half. Thus couldn't get the pass away. Cridlin decides to grab a crossfield. Quick play now, and Cridlin this time straightens up. They've got a good roll on here. Russell over the top. Well marked up, though, from Jesse Jenkins out there. We shut it down nice and quickly. Touch comes in now from Cridlin. Good. Promotes the footy out to Costello. Costello drops it off. Palau into acting half, and now straightening up himself. Up over halfway. Support comes. Moffat fires a ripping pass into the hands of Kennedy. Here's Moffat again. Looks very flat. Flat at best, perhaps. Ball over the top, and that one is even worse from Ashby. So New South Wales not quite hitting the mark to start this second half. Referee, of course, awarding that forward pass there, so the penalty comes for Queensland as Cridlin works it away from his own end. Now head towards their substitutions box here. Queensland trying to get those fresh players on. Not a bad transition either. Griffin nearly collected in the head once more there. He's already copped one Falcon, and another penalty to come here.
Well,
that's Queensland.
That's what happens when you run hard. It's incredibly difficult to run backwards. Pace that Queensland are running forwards. And Griffin was the one that actually caught a Kennedy brother offside. Very hard rucking set from Queensland. Can they capitalise with a good field position?
Here comes Benbow. Great little drop off. Massive dummy. Opens up a huge gap. Benbow is there in support. He gets it to ground. The referees will confirm, but I don't think there's a touch. That should be a try to Jaden Benbow. And confirmed, is it? No. Still discussing here, the referees. There's been a few confusing plays from them.
This could be a sin bin if Kennedy's grabbed him. Or an actual penalty try. He's been sent to the sin bin.
Oh, dear. So take us through, for the people that are just tuning in for the first time here, might not have seen State of Origin or touch football before. How long now must Kennedy be sat into that opposition end goal?
So New South Wales have to complete 3 consecutive sets while Maurice Kennedy sits in the naughty corner for New South Wales. So it is 6 on 5. I don't know why the try wasn't awarded. we have introduced penalty tries into the touch footballing system, but it is Corey Russell with the ball. Late news in, Corey Russell did dislocate his finger in the first half. It's gone back into place, and he's back out there, going that true Queensland spirit.
A great little twist there as well from Russell. Certainly nothing wrong with his ankles, but he might have caused a few problems for the New South Wales defenders there. Norman comes forward, onto the 7 metre mark, very flat to Russell. Might have been more than flat. Play on here for Queensland. Pass. Money sends it right through the corner. Did they get time? Just good. Oh, enterprising play from Queensland. 15 minutes to go here. And if we get any more of that, well, geez, I'm going to pass out from excitement.
Well, I thought Notley could have actually gassed the first time. I thought he probably didn't know that there was actually 6 on 5, because sometimes when you're playing and a player gets sent to the sin bin, you just forget. You completely forget. So a missed opportunity there from Queensland. However, Tony Calabria gifting Queensland good field position here. Again, it is 6 on 5 if you're just tuning in, and Notley with the ball now.
Here is the Gazelle. Oh, it's spurted forward. It's definitely gone forward out of the hands too. Jenkins wants the ball quickly. Thought they might have even been pinged for not delivering the changeover straight away. Jenkins is saying there was no touch. He's adamant about it too.
I tell you what, that's a crucial error from Queensland, because it's been 2 sets. This will be the 3rd set, and Kennedy eager to get back on, but that is 2 sets that Queensland have given New South Wales a free pass with 1 less defender.
The crowd as well is calling for Nick Good to be sent off simply for having a discussion with the referee. No prizes for guessing which section of the crowd it is as Kennedy comes storming back up the field. They'll go for the quick substitution, so it'll be Maurice Kennedy who comes to the sideline. John Kennedy back out there in his place. 6 on 6 now. Queensland up to the 7 metre mark. The decider here for the 2022 State of Origin Series. Both sides have won a game. New South Wales collected game 1. Queensland game 2. Here is Norman coming forward. Now Damon Moore. Oh, delays the pass late at the line. They play it early. His width, and Queensland go in. And now the situation looks very difficult for New South Wales. 5-2.
Beautiful Queensland try. And it started with Damon Moore coming out of half, and don't put it down to the effort of actually Hayden Moffat.
Game 2. Here is Norman.
So you can see him wrap around. He actually gets the ball down in the shutting defence from Kennedy, and Moore's actually falling as he passes that absolute curler of a ball right to left. You can see the reaction of Moore when he stands up. Big chest pump. Oh, we're all pumped here, James.
Worth noting as well, you don't often see that quick dump inside of that 7 metre mark. You're only doing it if there's definitely something on the cards there, and they were aware to it. Queensland as Hennessy jumps off the right foot, skipping around like a kangaroo. Great ball supplied to Luke Payne, who's able to draw a pass. Jenkins takes it, spins, and dives in the corner. New South Wales strike right back. The margin reduced to 2.
Again, New South Wales hitting straight back against Queensland. It was really a nothing play there, was it, from New South Wales? Throwing the ball back and forth. Just managing to find the extra number late. It's Kane digging into the line hard. I thought Pride would have been able to get him. He must have called hit into Assay. Pride may have put his body on the line while calling stay. He might have just been able to nick Kane, but Assay unfortunately having to collapse and gifting Jesse Jenkins a try in the corner. 5 tries to 3.
Here is Bauer. Off to Notley, all diving from a long way there. Queensland nearly got in. Good defence from New South Wales. Last play now for the Maroons. Notley comes forward. Bauer off the left foot, opens up half a gap. Jumps over the top almost of Mitch Wilson, who must have just got a shoelace on him.
Very close. Good evasiveness from Bauer. Look at that from Costello. Do you see him pick the ball up just with one hand?
Incredible skills on display from Costello.
So I've seen him actually hold a basketball in one hand. I can barely even hold a touch football in 2 hands.
Big boy Costello. Here he is once more, holding it out in one hand and striding forward up over the halfway line. Palau now finds support in Edwards. Palau out of acting half to Good. Flat pass back to Edwards. Edwards strafing across field from the right foot. Good slowing it down. Now they look to wrap around. Good. Fein to go for the open side.
Down.
That is indeed down. The referee says no touch. And New South Wales go back to back here. 5 tries to 4. We've got a ball game, Jackson Mills.
Great call by Nick Good. You can see him whisper to Kai Simbolan behind the ball, sweep a ninja, which means Good is going to pick up head short side and Simbolan's going to follow him in. But he had an option. If Simbolan wasn't there, New South Wales still had another player to pick. And in that case, it is Jack Edwards, reducing the margin to 1. So Queensland back on the attack through Russell now. Norman with an out ball. There's numbers poised for Queensland, and Moffat goes in. Queensland doing what they do best, just running the New South Wales defence side to side very laterally.
A great hit back from Queensland to do so immediately after conceding. Russell gets that quick jump. Norman moving at pace and then just finding an opening there. Hayden Moffat.
And I saw a beautiful poster of Moffat out there in the crowd as well. It says "Go Moffat," hashtag 14. It's actually designed by his brother. I saw him holding it up above his head.
There you go. If you are tuning in via Facebook or one of those social media sites where you can leave a comment and put it in there. The little hashtag of 14. Queensland step up. It's Damon Moore who's off and running. Masashi is chasing him on. Has he done a hammy there perhaps? He pulled up on his run, Moore. Very quick coverage from both Hennessy and Masashi. And Moore is certainly not looking to run too much further.
Tell you what, Hennessy did well to pace him down. Hennessy's over the age of 30, so it's not bad for an old buck.
Don't start saying over 30's old. I'll be very upset in the box here. Ball over the top. Masashi lifting Norman. Queensland are on fire now. They've gone in again. The margin once more extended to 2. 6 tries to 4.
The crowd's really come into this one. It is Assay, the big boy out on the right edge. Cridlin out of half. It's actually a preempted pass, I reckon, by Griffin. Doesn't even look and just hits the winger. He must have seen something. He must have seen Masashi sort of hanging a little bit tighter and just elects to throw the long ball. Wasn't a crisp pass, but it got there. Doesn't matter how it gets there, as long as it gets across the line for a try. Again, extending Queensland's lead.
Hennessy floats it over the top once more. Picked off from Queensland, though. And the supporters in the stadium are most definitely up on their feet now. That's a very sloppy play. The ball. Was there a loose foot coming through? No, referee. In fact, they're going to confer once more here. They've just got to make a decision, the ref. Good game's a quick game. We like flowing football for State of Origin. That's better. The play on here. Edwards comes forward. The touch comes in. Now way through Simbolan. Hennessy drops it down. Here's John Kennedy. Hennessy up inside the 7 mark. Kennedy once more.
Ooh.
Still arriving. Oh, great little movement there from Simbolan. Got away. Edwards. The touch comes on him now. Simbolan. Kennedy off the right foot. Wrapping around. Simbolan once again. Hennessy has to slow things down though. Up they step. Hennessy, short ball at the line, or Kennedy nearly found a way through, but good defence once more from Queensland.
Tell you what, Hennessy dug right into the line there, which made Malcolm Kenny out on that right-hand touch line have to collapse into the link channel. If Hennessy can fire that absolute missile that he's got right to left, Jesse Jenkins could have possibly been walking in, but good defence by Queensland, and again with a good roll on through Damon Moore.
Yeah, they've opened up nicely there. Moore came from the sideline to inject himself into the attack as Benbow picks it up, runs at an offside marker. There's some trouble here for New South Wales. From the touch, it's gone all the way through and gets the try. Oh, Queensland are well and truly singing, yeah, yeah, yippee, yippee, yeah.
Great work from Queensland again with that good drive. Going forward, look at Benbow, just kick him on. Hooked into the line and Hennessy just missing Moffat. And Moffat, that's his double for the match. Just getting on the outside of Dylan Hennessy. So that increases Queensland's margin by 2.
7-4.
3.
Is the official score piece here. We do have a slight delay on our piece, but well done, Jackson. You're all over it, mate. Touch coming in there from Justin Cridlin, who's got to try himself today. Long ball comes out from Jenkins, touched as he was throwing it, and the ball spilled well wide of its target. Just 6 minutes remaining. There is plenty of ground to make up here for New South Wales.
I was just looking at the clock. 6 minutes. I didn't realise how far along the game had progressed, and 7 tries to 4. New South Wales really trailing Queensland now, and if Queensland can keep the foot on, I think they're going to go all the way. We got a halftime update from our sideline reporter, Scott McAllister, and he said Queensland felt on top and felt like New South Wales were running out of legs and running with their legs.
Oh, beautiful
Queensland
ball
through
here as
Damon
well.
Moore.
Well, Damon Moore goes in. I think that just might seal it there. Damon Moore knows that's a big try. He's just soaking it all up at the moment.
Such an assassin is he, Damon Moore. But it starts with pride with that little check-off inside to Bembo. He's been instrumental, Bembo, as has this man, Harry Griffin, with another try assist. And that man there, Damon Moore, Australian representative, stays under the radar, does more, but he's an absolute assassin and injects himself into the game when it matters most. Well, it is 8 tries to 4 for Queensland over New South Wales.
Less than 5 to go. Kennedy off the right foot, popping a pass back to his brother. Touch came in though. The smiles are there from Notley. They've pretty much sewn this one up here, Queensland. New South Wales know it too. They're not rushing back to restart things. Hennessy, they can score here. It might just be time enough for them. Luke Kane, however, is caught. And Queensland once more can work it away from their own end. In the ascendancy and in complete control. Here comes the Gazelle, Jake Notley. Forward they march now through Moffat. Up over halfway. Good meters on display here again. Pride to Cridlin. Cridlin, oh, they've got them backpedaling here, New South Wales. Norman,
Oh dear.
In 2 hands. Uses a few times. Gets the support. It's now an avalanche. And the colour is maroon.
Well, there we go. Soak it up, Queensland fans. Another one for Harry Griffin. They're just such a strong team, Queensland. Look at that, splitting the 2 middles. That is unheard of for the New South Wales defence, and it is Norman getting straight through. Tangled up is Cridlin. And Luke Kane and Tim Bart's on the sideline. Unfortunately went down with a broken collarbone, but he's going to be amongst the celebrations tonight, no doubt.
The Hennessy fires from right to left, looking for consolation tries at this point on New South Wales. Hennessy picks it up, drives forward, the long ball comes out, popping back on the inside. Oh, a couple of times Palau tried to get it down. Just put his foot on the touchline though. Otherwise, that was good to go, Jackson.
Some of the tries that I've seen Palau score are second to none. Possibly one of the best finishers ever in touch football is Palau. And I dare say Masachi's up there as well. Scored some magnificent tries in the NRL Touch Premiership for the West Tigers. Queensland now with some open field, and Notley's coming around the back. I thought he may have been able to sneak up the sideline.
Was able to reel it in. Benbow, now Notley drives forward. Nice and sharp here from Queensland. Benbow skipping once or twice. Notley opening up the play. They've done it. Griffin gets it to ground. He's gone back to back. Queensland are killing them at the moment.
I've lost count, James. I've lost count of what the score is. I don't even know if I've got enough fingers to count.
I believe it is 10-4. It's an absolute tidal wave at the moment from the Maroons.
This is just classic heads-up footy by Queensland. Late switch back. Notley identifies some space. Actually throws it behind Moffat. Oh, and again, Harry Griffin enjoying his time in the Maroon. Had a bit of an episode yesterday with a bruised lung. Unfortunately, had a quick trip to hospital. But that's definitely not going to stop him scoring tries for his state.
Yeah, there might be touch footy, but they certainly play hard at origin level, hence the bruised lung. And just as well to clue you in here, Jackson, since half time, 7-1 the scoreline. Sorry, 7-2 I should say. So a completely dominant performance from Queensland. It was tight at the halfway mark as Hennessy fires short, long. Oh, ball over the top. Palau, was it backwards? It certainly was.
Nope. They're going to call forward pass.
Geez, that's a rough one. I'd like to see another look at that. Palau kept his width, so no try called. Some confusion here for the New South Wales players. They certainly think it's a try.
I'm confused as well because the referee that called forward pass, he's already in the back line.
Here it is again.
See, the referee that calls the forward pass, he's already back behind the 7.
I don't think that is.
How can you see a forward pass from there?
I don't think it's forward. I think Kennedy's
throwing
that backwards. Here they come, though. Queensland, horrible play the ball. There might have been a foot in it, though. Yes, Queensland will get another set to work with here. And they'll pretty much finish the match with ball in hand. 50 seconds on the clock.
I tell you what, look at Pete Norman. He wants the ball in hand. Great stint by that man, Bembo, on screen. He deserves a well-earned rest. But Norman wants another try. You can see the tenacity when the penalty was blown. Well, they have the strike power, don't they? Griffin, Cridlin, Notley, And Norman on the line, and Griffin slides in under.
Costello's just got him in time, though. 30 seconds on the clock. Queensland savouring every single moment here. Notley at acting half. Out to Cridlin. Cridlin back to Notley. Just slowing things down here, Queensland. About 50 million dummies coming from Cridlin as well. Finally, they'll look to launch an attack. Griffin over the top. The attempted intercept is knocked to ground. They'll get another set of 6, but it'll probably be the last play here if we even get one more. Norman does want to continue. They'll encourage the defensive line to come up towards them. And Norman holds out the hand. He shakes the opposition's hand for that matter. They've secured victory here in the Men's Open in Game 3, the decider, which of course means the series is won by Queensland. But in terms of the overall shield, to the best of my knowledge, I do believe that will be staying in New South Wales. So whilst the Men's Open might have gone in favour of Queensland, the overall big shield that we do compete here for at the Touch Football State of Origin stays put in the land of the free, the living, the loving, not the Sunshine State, but the beautiful state of New South Wales, Jackson Mills.
Tell you what an end to that. The floodgates open, about 5 minutes to go. Queensland scored about 5 tries in the space of 3 minutes. But final point, final score, 10 tries to 4. But Queensland very dominant through the likes of Cridlin. Corey Russell really stuck it out hard. And tell you what, Harry Griffin, after that episode with that bruised lung, really stepped up today alongside Damon Moore. Really putting their bodies on the line, just too good for New South Wales. And that puts Queensland in that Men's Opens category, back-to-back wins, 2021 and now taking out the title in 2022.
And of course, it was quite a long stint for New South Wales as well, claiming the Men's Open up until last year. So a real reversal of fortunes for Queensland. We will still have an interview with one of our winning compatriots from Queensland. Scott McAllister will be sidelined, but thank you so much for joining us across the last 2 days of coverage. We hope you've enjoyed every single moment here. A big finish to what has been 2 brilliant days of action. It is, of course, the Queensland men's winning this series, but the shield will remain in New South Wales for a second consecutive series. Presentation still to come. And, of course, the Gazelle on the sideline getting stuck into the beers. Why not, Jake Notley? That's a great way to finish. Been a pleasure to have your company, but stick around because we do still have interviews with Scott McAllister and some of the Queensland players and the final presentation to come.
Down on field with co-captain, winning co-captain from the Queensland Men's Open team, Adam Pride, mate. Put that into words.
It's not an easy thing to do. Every game against New South Wales is always tough. You saw in those earlier games, there's nothing between both teams. We got a bit of momentum in the second half, but it was a real gritty effort by the boys, so couldn't be proud.
Game 1 and 2 pretty much just had everything. We saw everything. Game 1 goes to extra time, lots of niggle, things happening off the ball. Game 2 we saw that as well, players in the bin as well.
but it went to a bit of a traditional game there in Game 3. It really opened up. You must be really happy with the style of footy that you brought into Game 3 to seal a series.
Oh, yeah, really happy. As you said, these Origin series, you can't question the passion. The passion from both teams is, astronomical. And, I mean, we got to probably play the brand of footy that we wanted to play in that third game, and, we were lucky enough to get the chocolates.
Pretty much the perfect second half there. I was near your huddle at half-time, really calm in the box. It felt like the messages coming out with you felt like you were getting on top of them towards the back end of the first half.
Yeah, Queensland, our mentality is just, next man kind of stands up, fills that job. So we had complete faith in one another. We knew if we stuck to what we needed to do, trusted our systems, we'd get the result. And, luckily for us, we did today.
Back to back, it's pretty special.
Very special, very special. It's different group each year, so you can't kind of quantify it. We're missing, one of our leaders, Michael Law, so big shout out to him back home. Losing him in 2 weeks in, definitely changed things for us. But as we said, that next man standing up did a great job, so can't put into words.
Oh, what a win for you. Congratulations, mate. 2022 Men's Open State of Origin champions.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
JC, well done, mate.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. To welcome everyone to the final presentation of the 2022 State of Origin Series. sure you all agree that the state of origin has showcased once again some of the best touch football in Australia. And that there really is nothing like state of origin. We now move into our final presentations for the day. We will be presenting the men's 45s, the women's 45s, the men's 30s, the mixed, men's and women's open divisions. And of course, the overall winner of the series. To start off the proceedings, I'd like to invite Jonathan Castle, the Mayor of the Cox Harbour Council, to address you all.
Good evening, everybody. On behalf of Cox Harbour City Council, I'd like to thank you all for coming to Cox Harbour and performing in this what looked to be an amazing competition. I'd like to congratulate all the players who participated, and again, I know that touch football definitely was good. In finishing, I'd just like to take this opportunity to acknowledge that we are meeting on the lands of the Queensland people, and this was and always will be First Nations land. Have a safe trip back home wherever you are headed, and again, yes, hopefully we'll see you again sometime in the future. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jonathan. I'll now pass it over to the CEO of Queensland Touch Football, Mr. Greg Denny, to address you.
Hi everyone, as host Queensland Touch Football, I would like to thank New South Wales and congratulate them on their 50th year celebrations. It's been an amazing event, and whether anything comes back, it's always good. I just want to give a big shout out to the Queenslanders for making the effort. I know this is a home event, we're a little bit away from home, so in particular all the supporters that came down here to support our Indian teams across the 2 days. Thank you very much. It's not greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Greg. And before we announce the results this afternoon, we'll just do a recap of the earlier division winners. In the mixed seniors, the men's 60s, the men's 55s from New South Wales take it out. The women's and men's 50s was Queensland. The women's 40s, New South Wales. Men's 40s, Queensland. And the women's and men's 35s, New South Wales got the biggies. Women's 27s was Queensland. Women's 20s, New South Wales. And the men's 20s was Queensland. And the first division we'll start with now is the men's 45. And the champions for the 2022 men's 45 series was Queensland, taking the win 2-1. So first call on the Queensland side to come into that series. And the player of the series, the Queensland number 3, Craig Nutters. Our next age group will go to the women's 45s. We had a clean sweep to New South Wales, taking our victory 3-0. And I please call on all New South Wales men's 45s to collect their medals. And the player of the series for the women's 45s is New South Wales, number 2, Belinda Patterson. Now move on to the men's 30s. The winners in the men's 30s division winning the series 2-1 are New South Wales. Call on the New South Wales side to come and collect your medallions.
I was going to beat you to it.
And the player of the final for the men's 30s, New South Wales number 11, Hayden Wynyard. Now moving to our Opens division. In the mixed open, it was Queensland, too good, taking a 2-1 series win. And it was called the Queensland side to come and collect your medals. For the Women's Opens is Queensland number 12, Catherine Sargent. Last but not least, the Opens division, we go to the men's, which went into a thrilling decider, and Queensland were far too good. Queensland taking the men's Open series for the 2022 2-1. Now on the call on the men's Open side to come and give you the game. And the men's Opens player of the series goes to the Queensland number 5, Corey Russell. Before we get to the last presentation of this evening, I'd just like to give a shout out to the Notley crew that are there at heart. Created plenty of atmosphere for the last couple of games of the day. We now come to the overall series winner of the 2022 State of Origin. I know Greg won't like to hear this, but I'm very happy to say the series is staying here in New South Wales, taking out the series win 9-8. I'd like to call on Sam Rogers, Christopher Johnson, Kelly Jean Johnson, and Maritza Masashi to collect the series shield from Mr. Jonathan Castle and Greg Dennis.
Hello everyone. On behalf of New South Wales, I'd like to
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the full part of this evening's ceremony. Just a reminder that State of Origin after function for invited guests only is being held at the CS Crofts located on Vernon Street, about 10-minute drive from the stadium. The function will commence at 7:30 p.m. Please be mindful of your travel arrangements to and from the venue and ensure you enjoy the night ahead. Very well reserved for all participants. A massive thank you for a fantastic 2022 State of Origin series, and we look forward to seeing you again in the not too distant future. Thank you all.